Hello.
What? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Well, I'm okay. So today is quite, well, not quite, but is a very hot weather right now.
Is
And in
it?
fact, last Saturday I just got quite sick. Like I
Oh
had a
no.
fever. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because Shingo is supposed to visit me that evening after his work. So instead of me cooking him dinner, he ended up cooking for me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah, but at that time, that evening, it was how do I say that? It's a last minute, yeah, it's a last minute information. So I sent him a message and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think I couldn't cook for you. So if you can, maybe
Yeah.
you can just buy whatever food you can think of. Just give me soup and gyoza. I'm okay. And yeah, so it was a last minute message. So he just bought whatever he could. He went to the combini and yeah, he bought whatever he liked and he bought what I wanted. Yeah, we just had a combini dinner that night, but yeah, the next morning he cooked for me and I was happy because I was like in my mind, oh, I think it's better sometimes if I'm sick because I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really nice because I posted it on Facebook. He gave me two melons, and it was funny because like one of my friends were like making a joke out of the melons.
Yeah. I thought about it too, not gonna lie.
I didn't think of it. I was like literally thinking of the melon. My friend was like, "Yeah, but those are two huge, round, hard melons," and I'm like, "What do I know about melons?" Yeah, but I got really dehydrated that Saturday, and somehow the um I don't know how to say it in cool fever sheets. I don't know if it's common in Canada.
Mm.
It's like a sheet where you put it on your forehead when you're sick, and the heat in your body is absorbed in that sheet.
Yeah,
So yeah, he gave me a bunch of that, and I used that until last night, and yeah, I felt much better now
that's good.
because it's terribly hot. Like this week is really hot. I don't know in Canada right now. So how's the weather in Canada right now?
It's pretty hot too, not gonna lie. Like right now, I just went out to buy some couple of things at the gas station, and it's like I'm actually sweating right now, and I was gone for 10 minutes.
What the hell?
Uh,
Sweating?
yeah, it's so bad. It's also very hot in my room right now because
Uh-huh. Oh,
I'm s
really?
yeah,
Damn.
so it's like 31 degrees right now outside.
Mm-hmm. What? It's what? 30 degrees?
31, yeah.
31. Oh, damn.
And in my
Yeah.
room, I have my computers running and all that stuff, right? So it heats up even more. So it's really warm in
Oh
here.
God. Yeah. Do you have like a cooler for your computer?
Well, my computer itself is fine. Like I have a lot of fans inside, so the computer is okay. But that's why it's so warm in the room, right? Because all the heat from the inside of the computer is going inside the room.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
I,
Okay.
I have like two fans running in the room. I have a big fan kind of like moving the air around,
Like,
and I have a small USB desk fan on my desk, just blowing air in my
what the
face
hell?
right now
Oh,
because it's so warm.
oh my God. And you said you're sweating in Canada. Oh
I'm
my
I'm
God.
actually sweating right now. It's not a very good feeling. Not gonna lie.
Is it like, does this happen often, like, for the past 5 years or 10 years ago? Is it the same heat? Because, um, I have to say, it's not as hot as before since I came here. This year is terribly hot.
Yeah. Um,
Like, yeah.
summer here in Vancouver is a little strange in that overall it's not super hot. Uh,
Okay.
but every year we get a week or two where it's just unbearable. Like it's uh,
Oh, it's the same here.
and doesn't last very long. Usually it's like a week or two max. And
Oh,
this
that's what people say it
a-
here too.
and this year we haven't really had it yet. It just kind of started last week. Well,
Oh my God.
was kind of like on and off, right? The
Ah,
previous years, no, it would start one day and it just would keep going for like 2 weeks. It would be super, super hot, and then it would go back to normal. But the past couple of weeks, it's like we've had like one super hot day, and then the next day it's like meh, kind of cloudy, kind of okay, and then we go back to super hot
okay,
day. So like it was raining between Thursday and Friday night. We had like big thunderstorms and stuff,
okay.
and Friday afternoon it was supposed to rain, and there was not a single cloud in the sky. And it was like 35 degrees or some shit.
What the hell?
And yesterday was kind of meh, and today it's like 31
Okay.
degrees. It's yeah, it's really weird. It's kind of Vancouver
Wow.
weather, but
Will it like,
it doesn't last
yeah.
very long. Like overall, the summer is actually not too bad.
Okay. Okay. So I think, yeah, I think it's not that bad. And are there any days where it's even more than 31?
This year I haven't seen it, but last year, yeah, I think we had like a 36 or something.
Oh my God. Well, it's Australia. So
Pretty much,
it's pretty normal in
pretty
Australia,
much.
right?
Which is really like it causes other problems, right? When it happens, when it's really hot for
I think
fairly
so.
long periods of
Yeah.
time. Um,
Uh-huh.
because when that happens, that means that basically all the forests kind of burn during the summer.
Oh my God.
A lot of fires going on a lot of the time in the summer, especially when you go a bit up north. And what
Okay.
what ends up happening a lot of the time is because of all those fires, all the smoke actually comes down to us, to Vancouver.
What the
So
hell?
sometimes for like weeks, all you see outside is just smoke from the fires up north.
Oh my God.
And so like
Okay.
not only is it super warm, but it's smoky. There is no air. It's really hard to breathe. It's yeah,
Oh wow.
it's not very good. It doesn't last very long typically, but when it's really warm, that's kind of what happens. So this year we've been pretty lucky because it hasn't been super hot,
Right.
except for the past couple of days now. But we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing that you guys only experiencing it for like only a couple of weeks.
Yeah, usually it doesn't last more than a couple of weeks.
It's actually my first time to, well, my first summer in Sapporo, so I had no idea it's this hot in
Yeah,
Sapporo because back in Kyoto, yes, we do feel warm, but because we're surrounded by trees and mountains and a lot of nature, so we don't really experience that extreme heat. But now I'm surrounded by concrete and I don't really hear a lot of birds.
yeah,
That means there's not really a lot of trees around. Um, it feels like an oven inside. I mean, I'm not kidding. I think that was the reason why I got sick because I'm not used to it.
yeah,
I do use my fan, but I'm not really a fan of water, so I don't really hydrate myself enough.
which is bad.
Yeah, it's bad. That's why I have to drink a lot of liquids at least.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and it's actually extreme because it can be very hot in summer, but at the same time in winter, it's super
It's
cold.
super cold with like 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, well, maybe it won't exist in Sapporo because there are more buildings and there are a lot of machines that that
Right,
take away the snow.
right.
People doing the job to sweep out the snow from the apartments.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know why, but whenever I visit Sapporo, it's just terribly cold.
Yeah.
Well, or probably because I commute to Sapporo in winter because I can't drive from Hyogoku to Sapporo because I have to I have to cross mountains and I don't want
Yeah.
to I don't want to have an accident,
Yeah.
so I take the train. Um, so oftentimes in Sapporo I walk because I commute, and well, it's definitely much colder for me because I have to walk outside
Hmm.
compared when I'm in the countryside where I can just use my car and go from one place to another,
Yeah.
where I can use the heater inside the car. Maybe that's the difference. But yeah, I'm a little concerned about how it's gonna be in the winter here. But well, summer's still around, so maybe I have to look after that first.
Maybe.
Um, Actually, like yesterday, I asked Shingo, I'm like, which do you prefer? An extremely hot weather or an extremely cold weather? And he's like, well, I'm from Hokkaido, so I prefer oh my God.
Oh shit, you okay?
Yeah, okay. I just slipped the glass from my gloves.
Oh,
But yeah, and I was like, okay, that makes sense because I prefer extremely hot than extremely cold because like Philippines. Yeah, it was kind of yeah, I really enjoyed just hanging out with him yesterday. We didn't really do much because honestly, we plan to like go shopping in the morning. Like once we wake up, we just have to eat breakfast and then, well, if my condition improves, which did, thankfully, but it just got delayed until 1 p.m. because it's so hot we couldn't get up.
yeah.
We felt like so dehydrated, and I'm like, hey, do you want to take a shower? And he's like, yeah, but I can't. Can you like give me an hour? And we ended up just yeah, we just slept for another hour, and we can't get up because
Yeah.
it's so hot. And even if we tried to plan going outside, it we just can't because it's too hot. Even riding in the car is extremely hot.
Hmm.
Yeah, so but it's okay because and yeah, after lunch we went out, just went shopping and bought some stuff for our camping because we plan to go camping next week.
All right.
And yeah, it was enjoyable because you know this feeling like just simply just a lazy day going out whatever,
Yep.
eating comfy foods because we went to Costco and like we shop for camping stuff and then I was like, hey, let's buy a box of pizza and act like Americans. And he's like and he's like, okay, there's gluttony going on. So yeah, luckily we don't there wasn't a lot of people at Costco, probably because it's just too hot.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go out. Um and then we bought this whole box of pizza, and it's kind of funny because like he was like, "Oh, I can't wait to eat pizza! Like I'm so excited to eat pizza." Because the thing here, though, Florent, pizza is not like your thing in Japan because Japanese pizza is like so gross.
Really?
Um,
Why?
yeah. Probably because I'm so used to American style pizza. Pizza here in Japan is like very bland,
Oh,
and they put a lot of foreign objects. I call it foreign
foreign
objects.
objects. The-
They put yeah, they put foreign objects like corn, asparagus, what else? Wasabi or
well, I mean,
the
was
sea the thing.
wasabi? You can kind of expect it since it's Japan, but
Yeah, but corn and asparagus. Oh God!
s-
Like, have you ever tasted pizza with asparagus?
I have never seen one. No.
And they put, if not asparagus, they put broccoli
Okay.
and carrots. Oh
Oh,
my
what
God!
the hell?
I think I have to include that in my blog. Like, the look like.
I don't know if they really understand what pizza is supposed to be.
Yeah, and actually, one of the flavors I also noticed from the karaoke, yeah, from the karaoke. So sometimes I look at the menu, and one of their flavors of pizza is soup curry flavored pizza, and I'm like,
What?
what the fuck is that?
How does that
So
even
soup
work?
curry is like so soup curry, it's very popular in Hokkaido. So soup curry is like it's the typical curry from made from curry powder, and then sometimes they put like coconut milk, and
Okay.
then they put all the sorts of vegetables. Like you can Google that out. So you put squash and uh what do you call this, eggplant, broccoli, potatoes. Yeah, that's soup curry.
Okay.
Can you imagine those flavors in a pizza?
Sounds weird. Oh, we actually do have that too, soup curry.
Okay, but can you imagine that in a pizza?
That's so weird. That's funny. It actually came from Sapporo. That's where it came from.
Yeah, exactly.
The
But
soup
it's
curry.
just kind of weird, and I'm like, soup curry pizza. All right, who the hell would like to eat that?
This is weird.
Definitely not foreigners. Definitely Japanese people. But
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, going back, that's the reason why I'm not really a fan of Japanese pizza because they just put like all the weird stuff in there.
Yeah.
I even remembered one of the pizzas that I've seen on TV where like they put squid and squid ink and all the sorts of seafood in the pizza.
Okay.
I don't know if that's normal.
I mean, seafood
Well,
pizza is
common.
not seafood pizza is not it's not weird in itself. I've seen it. I'm not a fan of it, but it does exist.
Okay. I'm not a fan of it
Yeah.
because of the taste and the smell and everything,
Yeah,
but
I mean, yeah, it is a little strange, but I guess like you can say here like a seafood pizza would be kind of like the weirder side of the pizza. It's like it's not super common, but it does exist.
it's kind of funny that it became a meme about pineapples and pizza not going along together.
Yeah.
But I should say curry and pizza.
Yeah, really.
Only thing I know that wouldn't get along. So
Oh,
yeah, that's the reason why I'm not really a fan of pizza. And it's there are only two so far. There are only like two pizzas I go to, which is Pizza Hut and Costco, which is so American. And
yeah,
I'm like, it's kind of funny because Shingo had never eaten American pizza ever in his life.
yeah.
So when like 2 years ago, when I had my driver's license renewed, I saw Pizza Hut from the corner, and I'm like, "Oh my god, Pizza Hut!" And he's like, "Pizza what?" And I'm like, "Pizza Hut, it's so famous in the Philippines, and maybe it's popular in the U.S. too, but I love Pizza Hut." And he's like, "What's the difference of Pizza Hut and pizzas in Japan?" And I'm like, 100%.
Yeah,
And he was not confident eating American pizza because he was concerned about all the fat and the
yeah.
flavors coming in.
Which
Um,
is fair, I guess.
right?
A lot of oil,
Because
especially in pizzas. There's a lot of oil.
exactly, so oily, right? I mean, you've worked there before, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, just try it, and I was like acting like a little kid, so excited to like get a piece of it because seriously, Pizza Hut is not that popular in Japan. It's just like a small delivery shop. It doesn't even have a restaurant. It's just like a takeout corner.
Interesting. And how expensive is Pizza Hut in Japan?
That's a good question. So it almost a medium-sized pizza costs around 3,000 yen. That's $30.
$30?
$30, yeah. Is
Shit,
it bad?
that's pretty expensive.
Expensive?
Yeah, so hold on.
Yeah.
So it's around 3,000 yen.
Yeah.
Let me convert
That's
that
for
in
medium size.
Canadian. That's like $37 Canadian. This is crazy.
I think the reason why it's that expensive is because they use ingredients from America and there's just not really a lot of common American stuff over here.
Oh, do they actually? Um,
Um yeah. And
hold on.
again, American pizza is not really a thing for Japanese people. They're not a fan of American pizza.
Yeah.
That's why they put everything through tax to what do you call that? To get a yeah to
Hmm.
earn from yeah. And yeah, it's pretty expensive, and actually it's like three times expensive from the Philippines because from the Philippines like a medium-sized pizza is like, hold on, 400 pesos, so that's 800 yen. That's $8 in the Philippines for a medium pizza,
Okay, that's actually pretty cheap.
right?
That's
Like
pretty
eight
cheap.
dollars versus it's $8 versus $30, right?
This is
But
yeah, this is actually pretty crazy. Let me look. 'Cause I can't remember really the prices. So I'm gonna pick like
Okay.
I'm gonna pick a random pizza from the website.
Okay.
We're gonna do medium. Okay,
Okay.
whatever. And like a
There's not
base.
even add-ons. There's not even add-ons on $30 pizza. There's no
Alright.
add-on from that.
So for one medium pizza, just kind of random. Here it's about $18.
Oh my God,
So
that's
that's,
freaking cheap.
I mean, here it's considered expensive for a medium. And like I think personally it's pretty expensive. Almost $20 for a medium pizza that I can eat all by myself in 10 minutes. That's a little expensive.
Right.
Um, but dude, that's like half the price of what you guys have. This is ridiculous.
Exactly, right? But again, it's American pizza and all the flavors are originally, American.
Yeah,
And I guess all the ingredients are imported. That's why it's that expensive.
I guess.
I don't know if I'm gonna compare it to McDonald's though, because like a whole set, like a burger set, including a medium size fries and medium size Coke, and then the burger sandwich, that's like $6 50 cents.
How
I
much?
don't know if that's expensive. $6.50
Oh,
US dollars.
that's okay. No, the prices there is about in line with what we have here. Then I guess. Um, so, yeah, let's see. I want to just compare to. Yeah, that's around the same thing. It's around the same thing
Okay.
for
I think the
McDonald's.
reason, yeah, and I think the reason why they put the pricing almost the same for America is because McDonald's is just really popular for everyone.
Mm,
And this is the funny thing, because instead of young people coming to McDonald's, and because there are more old people in Japan, it's funny to see there are more old people at McDonald's
that
more than kids.
that's funny.
Yeah, it's very funny, right? I mean, you would expect like kids and like babies around, families,
Yeah,
crying kids around, but no, you only see that during Sundays, not even Saturdays, because Saturdays are like, um, yeah, I should say Mondays to Fridays. Almost like 80% of the people eating at McDonald's are like old people.
interesting. So, like, what is popular with the kids then? What is popular with the younger people, like teenagers and stuff? Like, what do they do? What do they eat when they go out?
Um, they usually people who well one of the most common ones are obviously at McDonald's and Starbucks. Typical kind of cafe and stuff like that because it's for them it's cheap.
Okay,
But it's
Starbucks is
not it's
cheap
not for them.
for them.
Well, I'm not saying that it's cheap here, but with how much we earn here, it's pretty cheap.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, because everything else around here is pretty expensive. Like if you eat like a meal, it already costs around $10 without any drink.
Okay,
Like for like say for example, if I order just a pasta without any set, like a dessert or a drink, like if just the pasta itself, it's like $10 or more than that.
okay, it's not too
And
bad. It's not too bad. That's kind of like some of the stuff we have here is like really more expensive than that. Like when I go to the Chinese restaurant and just
uh
one thing from the Chinese restaurant is like $16 for me.
oh wow,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
That's pretty expensive for me. Or probably I'm just really that cheapskate. But yeah, to me that's already expensive.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there are cheap places. Like there's this ramen place I go to, not too far from my work.
Okay.
That I really like. It's my favorite ramen restaurant in the area. Um, the thing I get, it's a big ass bowl of ramen, and there's like refills on noodles and stuff like that. Um,
Oh wow.
and the one I usually get is like $14. It's totally worth.
Oh, I think that's yeah, it's I should say that price is touristy here.
Yeah,
You can get well obviously this is Japan, so everything comes from Japan.
yeah.
The cheapest ramen you can get here is $5 in Tokyo.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
dude.
and like
I would
Yeah.
just like if I went to Tokyo, I would just live off ramen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, $5 a ramen. Can you imagine that? You can have ramen for breakfast, ramen for lunch, ramen for dinner for the price of one ramen here in Canada.
But it's ramen. I mean, it's not like a local food in Japan. Sorry, in Canada.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
Well,
it
yeah.
kind of depends. Here in Vancouver, it almost kind of is because the Asian population we have here in Vancouver is actually pretty high. Not so much Japanese, I would say, but we do find a
Oh,
lot
really?
of. I mean, I think some of the more popular restaurants here are sushi places. A lot of sushi places
Okay.
because
Right.
we're right by the ocean, so it's easy.
Oh, that's interesting.
So a lot of sushi places and a lot of Korean places, hot pots and
Ooh,
stuff like
I
that.
love Korean food. Yeah.
So yeah, like I mean the Asian cuisine stuff here is pretty well represented. Like it's almost easier to find a good sushi place than it is to find a good pizza place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now that we discussed that gave me an idea of what to feature here because now that we've discussed about the pizza and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have to tell you though that the very common foreign food here, which is kind of food, the very common food here are Thai restaurants
Okay.
and a lot of Indian curry.
Ooh, I like Indian food.
Yeah, oh, I love it too. I mean, like I'm also a big fan of curry, and it's just strange because I kept asking myself, I'm like, what's the big link between Japan and India? Why are there so many curry shops here? I just don't understand that.
Or
I
it's pretty close,
yeah,
right? It's pretty close, right?
I'm not sure, but and it's just to me it's weird because if you're gonna compare Philippines to India, I should say that Philippines is closer to Japan, right?
Is
But
it?
this is something that's going to be surprised.
Is it though?
There's no what? Yeah, it is. Like Japan is like the Philippines is like just south of no, no, sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Philippines is just south of Japan,
Okay,
and
hold on.
India is like
Hold on.
yeah, India is like in the Middle East,
I'm loading a world
obviously.
map. I'm loading a world map.
Okay, because you know, like, come on, Florence.
What?
I mean, you should know by now the Philippines is just south of Japan. Hello.
How do I zoom in this thing?
Oh my God.
Okay. Oh, actually, yeah, you might be. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, never mind. I forgot there was China in between.
My God. We have to before we come to the Philippines, we have to cross Taiwan at first.
Right.
So here's the funny thing. Um, why why is Japan so into curry? I just don't understand it. And the irony of that is Japanese people don't like spicy food.
Yeah, that's true.
Why?
That's not a thing. I mean, you can't really consider wasabi spicy because it's not exactly spicy, but
Yeah, it's not the spicy we're
yeah,
talking about,
it's not a hot
right?
spicy kind of thing.
Exactly. And you know, the Philippines is much closer to Japan, and I should say there are even more Filipinos in Japan than Indian people.
Okay.
So I'm like, why are there no Filipino restaurants in Japan ever?
It feels
Not
like I feel that Filipino cuisine is not something that's really widely seen anywhere in the
introduced,
world, like
right?
aside from the Philippines, obviously. Like even here, like the Filipino population here is like I wouldn't say it's huge, but it's here. Like you can see them. Like some
Okay,
of my friends are Filipino. I work.
pretty common.
Yeah, they're pretty common, right? And you even find Filipino grocery stores, like convenience stores.
Okay,
Oh, you can.
okay.
I've actually always been really curious about them, but I'm always scared to go in there because
Why?
because every time I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go check it out. I think of your stories about street vendors in the Philippines and
Yeah, but
the kind
in
of
Canada.
and the kind of stuff they sell in the street in the Philippines. I'm like, I don't know if I want like uh
Oh, come
not like
on.
those duck eggs with the bird inside the egg kind of thing. I don't know if they're gonna have that kind of stuff. I'm a little scared. Can't remember how it's. So, like, we do have those. I have few. I think I've seen a couple Filipino restaurants, but I mean,
Okay.
it's not something you like see a lot of unless you're really looking for it. Whereas, other
Okay.
cuisines like Indian, Japanese, and like other things from other places in the world, like you find them fairly easily. So I
Ah,
don't know.
okay. It's just kind of weird because, in fact, I have to say, maybe it's just Hokkaido alone because I'm talking about Hokkaido, not just Sapporo. It's Hokkaido. Like everywhere I go in Hokkaido, there's curry,
Yeah.
fucking curry. Like I go to Hakodate, there's curry. I go to my place in Kyogoku, there's fucking curry around. Go to I go to Niseko, there's a lot of numerous curries around there, and Indian people as well.
That's
Not being
funny.
racist in that part, but yeah, it's pretty more much common. And the funny thing is that I don't even see any American food aside from McDonald's, which is not even American food, it's American fast food.
Yeah.
I have never seen any like authentic American restaurants ever in Hokkaido because I haven't really explored other areas in Japan. I mean, I did, but I didn't really explore in the food area.
Mm.
But because I'm here in Hokkaido, I noticed like every detail as I live longer here. But yeah, that's what I noticed. Um, it's either and the funny thing about that is you can like find a lot of foreign food in Japan and expect them to really taste bad
Yeah.
because they're bland and they're just not right.
Yeah, because
Like Italian
they're like
food,
they're like spiced and flavored for the
yeah,
Japanese palate, right? Not exactly.
it's exactly. And you know, it's kind of funny because we have a new ALT who he's the next ALT in Kyoku, and he's from Toronto, but he's from Italian decent. And we hang out together, and we talked a little bit last weekend when I attended the Oiran festival. And he was telling me, you know, I tried some Italian restaurants here, and god damn it, I didn't finish like even one fourth of my plate. And I'm like, why? And he's
Well.
like, because you know, I tried a carbonara and it's not even fucking carbonara. There's like just white sauce in it, not even the eggs. And I'm like, okay, tell
That's
me more.
that's funny.
And
But like how like I'm really curious because like for all those foreign foods for Japanese,
yeah,
like especially for like American
yeah,
food, European food and stuff like that, those use a lot of meat. But traditionally in Japan, you don't really find a lot of meat, right? It's not like they have cows
that's true.
everywhere. It's not like they have cows everywhere because there's no space for cows. Like
Okay.
I mean they do have pork because you find it in ramen and stuff, but like
Uh-huh.
how do they manage that? Like, do they? Because like, see, like your friend went to have carbonara, and it's like in that thing, there's lard, there's pork, there's things like that, right? It's like where
Uh-huh.
do they get it from? Like, do they actually grow? I mean, raise raise the pigs in Japan? Do they bring the meat from the outside? Like, how does that even
Right.
work?
That is a very good question because I also had that question back when I was in Kyoto, and I asked my friends, my Japanese friends, I'm like, hey, I'm just wondering why in the supermarkets we don't have pure beef. We only have a mixture of beef and pork. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why do you mix beef and pork? That's very disappointing.
Because
And their answer was like,
it's probably cheaper to do it like that.
I guess so. And then one of their answers is like, you can see that there are a lot of cows in Hokkaido. Unfortunately, they're not made for beef. They're
Right,
made for milk.
right,
So the main purpose of cows in Japan in general is not beef, but dairy.
yeah, okay.
So you might wonder, like in most restaurants or like maybe in Canada or wherever, they sell more cheese or more milk or yogurt more than meat because that's the main product of Japan when it comes to cows. It's
Okay,
dairy.
all right.
And yeah, regarding the beef thing, I think it's imported. Probably in
Well, that, I mean, that,
2000.
that would make sense because if no, if the few cows that they have, because I don't assume they have a lot of cows, but if the few cows that they have are made for milk, I would assume that
Uh-huh.
whatever they want to use for the meat has to come from somewhere else, right?
Exactly. I just don't know about the pork though, because they have you got it right. They got more pork supply than
Yeah,
beef,
yeah.
and
Pork is
it's
a more pork is a more common thing, I guess,
common. Yeah,
in Japanese food.
yeah,
But
especially
then
ramen, right?
yeah, but then at the same time, a pig is a lot smaller than a cow, so it's probably easier to manage.
Exactly. Exactly, because the most common foods here are, well, as we all know, fish and vegetables.
Yes.
Because that's the biggest market they get. I also think that it's because back in history, they focused more on farming and fishing.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, most of their paintings, I'm not trying to be historical here, but I just noticed that most historical paintings are about fishing. I've never seen any paintings about cows or about pork or whatever.
Right.
I would see people farming or people fishing, and there's even art for fish, right? Like
Hmm.
carp and stuff like that. But I've never really seen any form of art regarding cows and pigs.
Which makes sense, right? Because Japan is an island. Well, I mean, a series of islands. Um, and they're literally surrounded by the sea, right? So I guess it's the primary
Yeah,
resource for them, like historically, right, is to go fishing because
exactly,
it's easier
exactly,
it's easier to go fishing than to raise animals on a farm. Where you could use that space on the farm to like grow rice and vegetables and stuff, right? Where
exactly.
you don't need the effort of raising those animals when you can just go in the sea and go fishing.
Yeah, and not just that, the Japanese, as we all know, are very traditional until now, for like even after 1,000 years. They never like change.
Yeah,
So all they did in the past, they still continue doing now, and they don't have plans to change that, not even for the sake of world trade. They're just like, well, we're Japanese, we do this, and we're gonna die doing this. We're not willing to change. This is how we were brought up, and
yeah,
we're gonna continue what we do. It's kind of ironic too, because in big cities like Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, and areas like that, there's a lot of big technology stuff, um, something new that we have never seen in other areas of the world. But at the same time, they're also very, very traditional
hmm,
when it comes to culture, their beliefs, and their behavior. And it's also funny because when it comes to immigration as well, they're very strict about, um, like changing the citizenship of foreigners around here. In fact, it's still a big issue
yeah,
regarding immigration and, yeah, anything related to that. So yeah, they're very, very traditional, and still until now they're a little narrow-minded about anything foreign. It's just funny because when you say the word foreign to them, it's just literally foreign. You wouldn't
yeah.
even think it's like um different, or they just say foreign. Anything that is outside from, yeah,
Yeah, just
from Japan is
basically,
just
yeah,
foreign.
anything that's not Japanese, right? I was actually talking about this with a friend not too long ago. Um,
Okay.
I can't remember how that came along, but we were talking about no places we wanted to kind of go visit, right? And
Uh-huh.
that friend was like, "Oh, I want to go live to Japan," and I'm like, "Well, good luck with that because Japanese won't like you, right?" Oh, she's Filipino.
Yeah.
She's Filipino too, actually. Even though
Oh, okay.
so she was born in the Philippines, but she moved to Canada when she was like 3 or 4 years old. So she's more Canadian than Filipino at
Okay.
this point. But she was like, "I'd love to live in Japan." I'm like, "Well, good luck with that, because even though you're Asian, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you go there for 2 weeks as a tourist, they're gonna love you. But if you want to stay there and live there, they're gonna hate you pretty much."
Exactly.
And
That
she
is so true.
and she was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, no, my best friend is living there. She's been there for like 3 years now. And every time she talks to me and she tells me about all the shit they put her through, even though she lives there, she pays her taxes there. She does everything there that she's trying to integrate herself into the society, like they don't like her very much for some reason,
Thank you very much.
right?
Oh my god.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially Asian people. Like I don't want to not sound bad or anything, but like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go live in Japan. It's like, well, good luck. You know, and unless you pretend the whole time to be a tourist, then you're gonna be fine, because they're gonna think you're gonna be.
Exactly.
But as soon as you try to get with them, you know, you try to learn the language and stuff, because when you go as a
Yeah.
tourist and you kind of like babble in Japanese a few words here and there, and they're like, oh, this is cute. He's trying to speak Japanese. But when you're actually learning the language and you talk to them like you're one of them, they're like, oh, whoa, who is this guy? What is he doing here? Kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Oh my god, you hit it right. 100%. Oh my god, that is so true. I mean, not being sarcastic or very
hmm
like so negative about yeah, about that regarding yeah, Japan as a country, but sadly it's true. God
Yeah,
damn it.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Um
I feel maybe I don't know. Like obviously I don't live there, so I don't have that perception. Like I don't know what's going on. But do you think that as time goes by, that's kind of a sentiment that
gonna
will
change.
kind of yeah that will change or will kind of go away slowly, or do you think that's basically there to stay forever? Because I mean, when you look at the evolution of society in history, right, in the world, um,
Yeah.
like borders and like borders don't necessarily mean what they used to mean, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, traveling from country to country is still um, can still be problematic every once in a while, but I feel that I mean, like when I look at how it is here in Canada, and again, that's just my perception and my experience of things, right?
Uh-huh.
Here in Vancouver
Uh-huh.
and BC, is that we have so many kinds of people, and people are mostly
Yeah.
accepting of different cultures. So
Uh-huh.
like,
Uh-huh.
no, I'm French, I'm here, and people are okay with me. We have some American people, we have some Europeans, we have a lot of Koreans, we have a lot of
Mhm.
Chinese, a little bit of Japanese population, not so much, but a little bit of it. Um,
Mhm.
so
Super duper tons of Filipinos.
we do have a few Filipinos, but like it's not a problem here. See, whereas
Ah,
it's not something that is common in Japan. But
right.
I feel like because especially through the media and the development of communications and stuff like that, that
Uh-huh.
at least from the inside, Japan maybe is more accepting of the outside, as long as the
Okay.
outside doesn't come in the inside. Does that make sense?
Um, I should say yes and no.
Yeah,
Because like the old generation, I have to say, they will never change.
right.
Whatever they grew up with, they will die like that.
Yeah,
One of the biggest racists among here are the old people, as we all know,
which makes sense, and
because
it's kind of true in a lot of the cultures, right? Usually, the older people are the ones that
yeah,
have the most
exactly.
trouble adapting and changing.
Yeah, because they're just really used to whatever they grew up with,
Yeah.
which is very common to everybody. Because like you and me, we don't like the music from Nicki Minaj and the latest people, right? I mean, from the music alone, we're the kind of people who don't want change.
Okay, but there's a caveat to that because I'm a metalhead, right? I listen to rock and metal and stuff like that. That's my kind of music originally. But I gotta say, for the past couple of years, I've been listening a lot to K-pop,
Okay, yeah, okay.
right?
I don't know. But
So even old people like me, we can change and accept new things. It can happen. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it can.
I guess so, because I can say some old people here are already using mobile phones because
Right,
they have no choice. But with regards to your question, I can say that maybe with regards of change, it will be like 10% because the problem of people here, the situation among people here is they decide as a group.
right,
They don't decide as individuals
right,
because their culture is like if you're unique, you're ashamed.
right. That's true. That's a very Japanese thing.
Yeah, and actually, most of my Japanese friends, most of them, I should say, they are exposed to another country, And that's why they made friends with me because they understand my culture and they fully accepted that.
Right.
I have to say I don't really have pure Japanese friends. I mean, I do have like 100% by blood, but
Yeah.
when it comes to what they believe in, they're open to foreign stuff and foreign culture because they've been there.
Right.
But yeah, these kinds of people, they understand anything that is outside Japan and they don't see it as a threat or anything that offends them or whatever.
Okay.
But people who have never been outside Japan, people who are not exposed to anything foreign, they couldn't accept it. They don't feel comfortable being with us.
Okay.
They don't feel comfortable talking with us even. They don't even feel comfortable just looking at us.
Hmm.
And it's I should say that sadly here in the city, which is kind of ironic, I have one school that I kept on ranting about you. So this entire school, the teachers, the students, and everybody in there, they just don't like me.
Yeah.
And they don't like me not because I'm a bad teacher. They just don't like me because I'm different.
Right.
They don't they don't like the way I look. They don't like my color. They don't like my eyes, the way I speak. They hate it when I speak in English. When I speak in Japanese, they laugh at me.
Okay.
They're like, "Oh, she's speaking Japanese," and the way they even say that is ironic. It's like they're saying, "Oh, so she's trying so hard being like us."
And that's
So
that's
I
one of the problems, right? That's kind of what I was talking about earlier, is that as long as you're not trying to be one of them, that's fine. But as long as you are trying to be one of them, which is no the right thing to do when you're living there, right? You
exactly,
can be living there and just not even try to be part of the culture, right? And I'm not necessarily talking about cultural appropriation, right? I'm not talking about you all of a sudden becoming like a Japanese person because that's not gonna happen,
yeah,
right? But at least no, you try to understand, you try to take part of those things. No, that's but as soon as you start doing that, then you have the really like quote unquote pure Japanese people kind of like pushing against that, right?
yeah, yeah. And well, I was actually discussing this with my Japanese friend. Yeah, with regards to that, and I also shared to her my frustrations about the school, and I also shared to her my past experiences in Kyogoku. And, like I told her, whatever I do in that school in Kyogoku, like I try to dress very decently. They still see that, oh, you're still not abiding by the rules. Why are you wearing red pair of jeans? Why are you wearing like hip hugging skirts? You shouldn't do that. Why are you coloring your nails? So I stopped doing that, and um, I tried doing at least what I could do, which is like talking with the kids in
Yeah,
English, making friends with them
which is
because that's part of my job.
exactly I was gonna say that's what you're there for, right? That you're there to teach them
Exactly.
English.
Exactly. And then one of the teachers were like, "Hey, you shouldn't be too close to the kids." And I'm like, "But that's my job. And
Yeah,
what else can I do? I mean, nobody wants to talk with me at the teacher's room. So why shouldn't I just talk with the kids? Because I'm a human being. I need to interact. In fact, the name of my company is Interact. So
that's
I should
ironic.
do, yeah. And I was like, that at least I should do what I should do. And they're like, yeah, but you're a teacher and they are students, so you need to make a border out of it. Like you need to act like you're a teacher and they are students. And I'm like, yeah, I am like, I ask how they are, what they're playing. I join sports clubs with them. What is wrong with that?
Yeah,
And they're like, yeah, but it's hard to explain, but it's just that you're too close to them. I don't get it. And
yeah,
then I said it, I told it to my Japanese friend, and she was like, you know what? They're bullshit. And I was, yeah, she just said the word bullshit. And she's like, they're just jealous of you because they feel like if you're closer to them, it will make them like the foreign teachers instead of the Japanese
right,
teachers.
right.
And for them, it's a threat. That's why they say these things to you. So you will stop doing it. and you will be out of the picture.
That's the thing, right? And by doing that, you basically just keep that image of we don't like foreigners kind of thing, right?
Exactly. And that's what happened.
And
I
it's
stayed
a
timid.
it's really the culture thing, right? Like some people just
Yeah,
are so deep in the culture and not willing to change that they will do basically anything to just keep things the way they were and the way they are because they don't want things to change.
exactly. And regarding change, you might ask, my Japanese friend, in fact, she didn't know what's wrong with her because she was really sad about her opinions as a Japanese, and she feels like, why doesn't anyone respect my opinions about, like about getting married, at a later age? Because, she's 32, like 32 is like, that's not even old.
Yeah.
Um, and she feels like she's still young. She wants to enjoy her singlehood, and she's dating, yeah, the next Kyogoku ALT.
Okay.
But yeah, I introduced them to each other. Um,
Nice.
so she's having these new experiences with a foreign boyfriend because it's her first time to date a white guy, especially from Canada, and with an Orient with an Italian Orient with that. And she, like all her families, all her traditional Japanese friends are so against that relationship.
Yeah.
They're like, why are you dating this white guy? He will just, he's just gonna play with you. He will change your culture. He doesn't believe in marriage and blah 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 blah. And she was confused. She was like, I don't know if dating this guy is even right. And I got a little annoyed with that question
Yeah.
because I asked her, I'm like, what is it that you want? Does it make you happy being with him? And she's like, yeah, I am, but I just don't know why. I don't know why I feel there's something wrong. And I ask her, whom are you listening to? Your traditional Japanese friends or yourself? And she's like, but it's Japanese culture that you have to listen to the elders. And I'm like, yeah, right. But what kind of social
Right. Like
standards do they have?
no, listening to the elders, sure, like why not? No, some people have the experience and you can benefit from that. But that doesn't mean that you have to take their word for gospel, or else like nothing is gonna change.
Exactly. And
And things
yeah.
need to change sometimes, right?
Yeah, and I also remind her, like, hey, and how old are you? You're like 32, right? But you take advice from people like you're 12 and you don't know how to decide on your own.
Exactly.
And the only thing she repeatedly says is, no, Jennifer, it's Japanese culture that you have to follow, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bullshit that culture, man. Because look at you. And I'm like, look at you. I have to say this. You're not even 100% Japanese because you don't 100% believe in every traditions of this country. And that's okay.
Yeah.
She's a little confused with that because like, she's a little afraid of what people will tell her. And she's like, yeah, but it's just not our culture to do that. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't believe in those 100%.
Yeah.
And you don't have to believe in yourself. You just have to believe in change and just follow what you enjoy doing and not worry about what people think of you.
Hmm.
But again, she's just one of the many people around here who don't really follow the traditional ways of Japan. That's why I should say it's a big problem when it comes to traditional change
Right.
and welcoming foreigners and anything that is foreign, because that's who they are. And to them, they cannot act as individuals. It's sad. It's a sad truth because they may want to change, but the people who are around them cannot accept that. They see it as like, oh, so you're trying to rebel against our
Right.
tradition.
Right. Which
And
is
it's sad.
which
Mm,
is really I don't know. I think it's kind of funny and ironic to me because okay, when you look at Japanese culture, and again, I'm from the outside, so I don't
okay,
necessarily like know 100%, but like
right.
from what I know from the outside, like Japanese culture is very no, it's very structured, right? There are rules,
Yeah.
like it's very strict. in
Exactly.
in the way you have to act, in what you can say, and all those
Yeah.
things, right? But at the same time, it's also the wildest culture you can find on
Yes.
earth,
Thank you very much.
right?
Thank you.
It's like
Yes.
you just go in Tokyo, you go in one of the districts, and it's like really proper, businessmen and businesswomen, the suits, like everything has to be really structured. You can't like step outside of the line. You have to watch out what you say, how you say it, and all that things. And then you go to another part of Kyoto where everybody's getting drunk, everybody's smashed in the street. You have all those lolitas on the street and like those weird
Yeah.
wild shops. And I'm not even talking about the porn industry. That's like the weirdest
Exactly.
shit in the world that you can find. It's like it's
Exactly.
such a weird difference in that same culture.
Blending.
Like you have such extremes. Like it's,
Yeah.
but at the same time they really cling to the strict side of the culture, like the ignoring the
Exactly.
fact that they're also the weirdest and the craziest people there is.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually saw one of the videos on YouTube about this blogger, and she was like interviewing. She's Japanese, but she can speak in English, and she interviewed some foreigners about what do you think should foreigners wear in Japan. And she interviewed foreigners, and they said, oh, we're expected to wear anything that hides your shoulders, your boobs, your
All right,
any sexual part in your body, because if you show at least a percentage of that, they would look differently at you. But of course, as a foreigner, they would think of it as a like, oh, she's a tourist,
right,
new here and like that. But if you start living here, they expect you to dress the way they are. And it's kind of funny because I read on the comment section, they're like, oh yeah, so they're like the modest kind of people when it comes to wearing clothes, but look at their pornographic stuff.
right, exactly,
Yeah, and how crazy they are when it comes to pornography, and all the magazines, like all the pornographic magazines exposed at the convenience stores
right.
where kids can see them.
It's like no, it's a like over there. It's a thing that is basically okay, right? You can just walk into any manga shop and just buy your hentai, just the same way you can buy your newspaper. It's like it's ridiculous.
Exactly, right?
Like, no
And it's
problem.
kind of
Just walk in, grab that, just walk out, no shame. Nobody's gonna say anything about it because that's a regular thing to do. But at the same time, it's interesting because I feel like maybe that whole side of Japan and people there is like a way to kind of counterbalance the strictness of the
ah
country because everything is
uh-huh.
so rigid that it's kind of like an outlet for them to get out of that
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's accepted. No, like like people who work all day, they work 10, 12 hours a day because it's a stereotype, and it's probably true that people in Japan work a lot and are
Yeah.
dedicated to their job and stuff like that. And then they go outside, and then they get smashed, right? They go to the bar and they get drunk out of their face.
Yeah.
But it's okay, right? It's part of a culture. It's accepted to do that because it's kind of like a balance, right? If it's everything was so structured and so rigid, um,
Yeah.
I think something would break eventually, right?
Yeah, that's true. And that's a good answer. He's like, yeah, but you see, every people, whether we like it or not, every people in Japan are unique. It's just that our culture is like, we have to be like this in public. And if you want to be an individual, there's always a specific place to do that.
Right.
So, say for example, you're the kind of person who loves to sing. If you love singing, go to a karaoke.
Hmm.
um, if you like drawing manga and you're crazy about anime, then go to anime cafes, go to maid cafes, go to butler cafes, go to anything that would make you exposed to those kinds of things. So his and then if you go horny, there's like a love hotel, and you can just go whatever you want from this level up to that level. There's always a place for whatever fetish you have. And I'm like, why don't you express that freely? And why do you have to? like make a specific place to do that? Why can't you just freely do that as an individual? And he's like, because that's our system.
Right.
We provide, he's like, we provide specific things for people as a group. And you are expected to be disciplined in this area. If you feel like you just want to be free as an animal, do it discreetly in an area where you can do it freely, where nobody, well, where not everybody can see it,
Right.
because not everybody can accept your fetishes. So go with the crowd where you think people will accept that. I think that's what he wanted to say, that a lot of foreigners don't really understand,
Right.
because we as foreigners we decide individually, right?
Hmm.
Unfortunately, they're not like that. They decide as a group. Um, that's why suicide is very common for them, because some people cannot decide as a group.
Yeah.
They can be introverts. They love to be on their own, and because society is not like that in Japan, they cannot accept um, individual preferences. People who are individuals, they try to separate themselves from the world, ending
Right.
up to suicide.
Right. Yeah, because they're having a hard time, right? Because they're not accepted by the rest of the people, which is
Exactly.
it's like they just like make compartments for everything
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
society, right? It's like everything has to be structured, which is really really
Yeah.
it's
It's annoying,
it's
right?
kind of funny because like whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's debatable. But it's like everything they do and everything they have has to fit in a box, and
Yeah.
there's a box for everything,
Oh,
which means like it's not like contrary to some maybe popular belief, like it's not all structured and all very strict and all of this. It's a big part of it, but part of that is also we have boxes for the wild people. We have boxes
yeah.
for people who just have fantasies that they can't do
Yeah.
during the day because they have to be proper. So
Yeah.
that's their escape, and they can go into that box and do their things,
Exactly.
and that's okay because it's not mixing up with the proper side of things, right?
Exactly.
Which
Exactly.
is it's interesting.
It's kind of funny, right? Because like judging from, yeah, I know I'm judging now. So judging, so we ordered a box yesterday, and it's funny because he instead of eating the pizza, he ordered something else, like a corned beef sandwich.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that's another story. So after watching Game of Thrones last night, he had to, come back to his hometown, and I was like, hey, I can't finish these pizzas. Maybe you can like take out like half of them for your mom and your sister.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. So, and the packaging begins. I'm like, so let's put this in a plastic and, just compile them all. And he's like, no, you can't compile them all. Um, yeah, but you can just reheat them, take them out separately, and that's fine, right? And he's like, yeah, but do you have a foil? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, hand me the foil. It's like I gave him the aluminum foil,
Yep.
aluminium for the Europeans,
Aluminium
aluminium.
for the English people listening.
There you go. And then he tore out like five separate foils. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, wrapping the pizzas.
So
And he
so
wrapped them individually.
you wrapped up every single slice by themselves, like
Yeah.
individually. That's funny.
And I'm like, hey, you can like compile them in one plastic bag. You just, you compile them in one foil. Remove them separately if you want to heat them, and that's no problem. You're saving plastic. And he's like, yeah, but the oil, you need to separate the pizza. And I'm like,
That's funny.
okay. And he's like, see? And then he wrapped them individually, and he's like, see, so clean. Everything.
Wow, that that's actually funny.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's not just that. We have so many funny moments where he's like being just really being Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and don't get me wrong, because like I do keep everything in order here.
Yeah.
There was one time where we have to take the fruits inside my fridge,
Okay.
and he's like, okay, so I just need to organize your stuff in the fridge because everything is like mixed up. And I'm like, yeah, but they're in order. And he's like, yeah, but the vegetables should come here because the potatoes, the tomatoes, and the yeah, not tomato, yeah, the potatoes are not in the ref. He's like,
Yeah.
the broccoli, the carrots should be here because they're vegetables. The cans should be here because they're all canned. And I'm like, yeah, but I know where I put my stuff. And he's like, yeah, but you need to organize them because so if you want to think about your vegetables, you just go to this corner and everything is vegetables. And I'm like, what?
That's funny. Wow.
Oh my god! And then I think I also shared this over my favorite on over my Facebook. I don't know if you I don't know if you've seen that. So I was practicing a game with my co-teacher,
Okay.
and the game is about draw a random thing for 30 seconds.
Right.
So
Actually, yeah, I wanted to talk about that. No, that was gonna be part of my examples about having them really structured and have compartments for everything. I remember that game about the turtle that you posted on Facebook, and I saw something else. It might have been from you as well, where you have to draw as many circles as you can into a square in like
yeah,
30 seconds, and you have yours where it's like circles everywhere and like all different sizes and shit. And
yeah.
then Japanese person where it's like all lined up, all the circles are the same size and everything fits just nicely. Like this is so Japanese, but everything has to fit in the box just properly. You can't just go like mess up everything. Like it has to be properly aligned. It's pretty interesting.
And it's so funny, right? Because when we did this on the board, right? So all my kids, obviously, they're all Japanese, right? And
Yeah.
I'm the only foreigner. And so we did that. So okay, guys, we got a game. So draw any random stuff in 30 seconds. So this is how we do it. And then our the example we did was fish. So
Right.
I was like, okay, draw fish for 30 seconds. And then I drew fish everywhere. And my co-teacher, she even did the kawaii fish anime, like fish in the water. And after 30 seconds, I was like, it felt like my box was like filled with different kinds of species in one aquarium.
Yeah.
And she drew like fish cookies on a plate, on a tray, being baked like that.
All nicely lined up and everything.
Yeah, and I was laughing so hard, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so Japanese!" And guess what? The reaction of everybody, they were staring at me like, "What's wrong?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Don't you get it? It's so Japanese!" Ah! And they're like, "What's so Japanese about that?"
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's not just her, it's every Japanese in the world.
Yeah.
Like this is also funny because when we had a survey about voting, like the elections of the student council,
Yep.
I had this at the Kyogoku school, and they took a video of it, and they took a video of the survey who they want to vote, and it's so funny because so they have to like stickers, like it needs to be in color, in different color. So this color you should vote for Miss Taka. In this color, pink, you should vote for Miss Matsui, like that. So it's according to color, according to shape, or whatever.
Okay.
And then if you're a foreigner, you would just randomly put them in the box, right? You just
Yeah.
place it wherever you want, right? But to them, they have to like fill each space
Right. It has
according to color,
it has to be
according to
lined up.
color. It has to be lined up, like it needs to be by column, so they can count it very in a disciplined way.
Hmm.
And you cannot mix the colors. If you vote for this color, okay, you need to put it here.
Yeah.
If you and it's so funny because you don't even have to do the instructions, they just do it.
They just do it. Yeah. They just
there,
know.
there are no instructions at all. They just literally do it like it's already in their brains.
Yeah.
It's already, yeah, it's already programmed in their brains. And I'm like, oh my god, that's like if I were like, if I'm gonna vote, I would be like, just do whatever I want unless there's an instruction. But to them, they don't need instructions.
Yeah.
They just know.
Which is interesting because like it makes me wonder, like where does that come from? Like how do they know if nobody told them to do that? Like because no, I doubt that it's something that's in your genes, right? I refuse to think that's in the gene because that's a really social
It's
thing,
not.
right? Like
Yeah, it's not.
that's a social that's thing that's something that's taught, right? But like
Yeah.
that means that they have to be conditioned like from the youngest age to basically know those things. But like how they taught that? Like does that come from the way they teach how to write, for instance? Because no, they have a very specific kind of writing, right? And I don't know. Like I remember when I was learning Japanese many years ago, and when I
Mm-hmm.
was learning how to write Japanese, like we had the couple teachers I had were very specific in the way we had to do things when we were writing, right? Like
Okay.
we had like lined papers, like to kind of teach us like how like where each part of the signs would the of the kanjis and kanas would
Mm-hmm.
go, and like which order you have to draw each sign, or like it's very specific. So like, does that come from that, and that kids get conditioned that early in having everything like lined up? Or
I think it's. Uh huh.
like because I'm curious, or like because I can't imagine or just a random wild kid just like doing random shit and being told no, you can't do this, you have to do it like that, because apparently that's not the thing. Like they don't get instructions, they just know. So how does that happen?
I also think that it's because it's already in their environment until they grew up. Like from the moment they were born, they see the system as how it is.
Yeah,
And the very interesting thing is that every area in Japan is just uniform.
yeah.
We're talking about literally uniforms, what people wear in school. What do they eat?
Mm,
The systems they do in school, the this big band kind of thing you hear from the
right,
anime, like tan
right.
tan tan tan. All schools are the same.
But like, I mean, no, I kind of had that too when I was a kid, right? Back home in France. I don't know how it works here in North America, obviously, because I haven't been in school here. But back in France, like it was the same thing for us, right? When I was going to class, before we'd go in class, we had to line up. Before walking in,
Yes.
we had a bell to tell us, the times when it was time for recess, for lunch, or like we had those things too, right? But we still don't have that culture. And even when I learned how to write, same, we had those line things, and we had to follow the lines, and we had like different types of lines to help us learn the differences between capital letters and the smaller letters and stuff like that.
But you
Like
have to
like so
also,
like, so like we had all those things when I was a kid. But you go to France right now, it's not like Japan. Everything is all over the place.
yeah, but that's the thing. You also have to consider that people in France are not all white. There are different kinds of color, cultures. Yes, you can say they all speak French, but they came from different origins,
That's true. Yeah.
right? But in Japan, whether you like it or not, there are only two races in Japan. It's the Japanese and the foreigners.
Yeah. That's the yeah.
So yeah, that's how it works. Anything that is not Japanese, they don't follow because
Mm,
they strongly use the word foreign.
yeah.
So anything foreign to them, they don't do.
But like what I'm wondering is that so they have all those structures, right, that you have to go through from the youngest age.
Yeah.
But like you find similar structures in other places, yet those other places don't turn out like what Japan is in terms of structure, and how everything has to be proper and everything has to fit in a box. Like, you don't find that in
Yeah.
other places, even though you
I
find similar structures from, like, no, especially in schools and stuff like that, right?
I don't know how it is in France because I don't know if it was conquered by another country. I'm not sure.
No, we were the
Um, but
conquerors.
but I do know I do know that any country that is conquered by another country has individual set of cultures. Like in the Philippines, yes, there are like 90% of us are Filipinos,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we were conquered by three countries. We were
Right.
conquered by Japan, America, and Spain.
Yeah.
That's why we have a mixture of cultures. And because we have the culture of being democrative, is that a word? Being democrative, is that word?
Not
Um,
really, but that's okay. It
yeah,
is. It is now.
there you go. We have decisions as individuals, whereas in Japan they have been like that for thousands of years.
Right.
Whatever one person does, the entire group does as well.
Right.
So I think it all goes with what they see, they do. Monkey sees, monkey does.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense actually. When you think of the history of Japan, um, I can't really go too far from memory because I haven't studied the history of Japan that in depth. But like when you see from the medieval times in Japan and the way things were structured, right, with the emperor and
Yeah.
all the counties and stuff like that, with the shit, what are those called? Like the leaders of all of each like districts kind of thing.
Shogun,
Yes,
shogun.
shogun. There we go. Um,
Mhm.
you had all of that, but that already was in the structure in terms of government, I guess.
Uh huh. Uh
Even
huh.
even though shogun, from what I understand, still had like a certain level of freedom in their
Yeah.
in the area that they controlled, but they were still answering to the emperor, right? Whereas Whereas in other
Mhm.
countries, maybe you didn't have that. Like if I look at medieval times in France, for instance, it was kind of like yeah, there was a king and there were like the court and like other like governors and whatever. And
Uh huh.
but it was pretty much kind of a mess. And maybe it comes also from the fact that Japan is a smaller country, maybe than
Yeah, and
countries like France or like other countries in Europe. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's weird when you
I
think
think
about it.
I think it's in regarding to geography. I'm not trying to be smart here, but just to figure it out. You can see that when it comes to geography, France, Germany, and whatever is surrounding that area
Yeah.
has different tribes, different cultures in each way,
Yes.
and they cross the borders,
Yes.
which means there's trade, there's intercultural marriages,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and things like that that evolved the culture.
for
But if you
sure.
think about it, in Japan, it didn't happen because if you see the geography of Japan, it's one huge island.
Right. Yeah.
um it's like all the entire island is connected to each other literally.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that entire island there are just seas,
Yes.
just oceans, just seas and stuff like that.
It,
So
it's it's a much more it's a much more confined area, I guess.
exactly, so like if they travel, they do trade, they do culture, whatever, it's all in the same island.
Right.
And well, this is what I watched on YouTube. So the only change they decided to have is the use of firearms, where the Portuguese had introduced them,
Yep.
not because they were not because they got interested about it for fun, but it made them realize, hey, this is a good technology to kill anyone who would want
Who tries
to
to invade?
conquer us.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so
Because like I
they
mean,
yeah,
they realize that if someone comes from the outside, it's easier to shoot them than to run at them with a sword.
exactly, exactly. And it's like a wise trick for traders. They didn't entertain that to open themselves for change, but
Right.
they entertained that to make an innovation how to destroy invaders.
Right. To
And
actually protect their culture and their thing even more efficiently.
exactly,
Right.
and that's how it went. And like in the Philippines, we can say that we're not really 100% having this original culture because number one, we were colonialized by, as what I said, three major countries,
Yeah.
and at the same time we are composed of thousands of islands,
Yeah.
which may lead from one island to another. and the separate islands close to China and in the Southeast Asia, they have other cultures,
Right.
and then they do trading. They start to do inter what cultural marriages and stuff like that.
Hmm.
That doesn't happen in Japan.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
But like,
and
I'm kind of curious
mhm,
too, still, because and again, that's really a topic where I am no expert by any means. But like Japan itself, like when I look at their writing system
yeah,
is essentially coming from Chinese, right?
yeah,
That's where it originated from. So like my question is like, were Japanese people coming from the continent in the first place? Are they coming from like China and what's up north? Is it Mongolia? There's like a Korea and all that stuff. Like, are they coming from there and then they moved to Japan and made their own thing? Like, how does that work? Because if that's the case, like, what my question is, when I'm looking at the Japanese culture, the way it is now, and if I'm comparing to the Chinese culture, which is, I guess, traditionally maybe the closest thing there is, at least if you look at the writing, at the language.
Okay, hold on, Florent. Hold on.
Yep.
Sorry to cut your.
What
I
happened?
have to call you again. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Sorry.
We got cut off. Okay, she's gonna call back. Let's hope I don't forget my question. Beep, beep.
sorry about that. I lost my signal from my
Oh,
mobile,
that's
but yeah,
okay. That's okay.
regarding the Chinese characters, yeah, you were saying.
Hello. So yeah, so my question was because Japan and the Japanese people, I shouldn't talk about culture, but I should talk more about people, are
Yeah,
essentially coming from China, right? From the
yeah,
mainland.
yeah.
But when you look at the cultures, the two different cultures today, they're vastly different. Like
Uh huh.
both in terms of structures, in terms of beliefs, and all that things,
Hmm.
they're vastly different. So what do you think? Why do you think that happened eventually, like through time? Why did Japanese society become the way it is now compared to Chinese society? Is it because China is more inland, so there's that whole trading thing that you were talking about? Is
Uh
it
huh.
because
Uh
it's
huh.
much bigger country, which is made of a whole lot of different kinds of people? Because obviously, just in Chinese itself, there are two languages, two main languages, I should say. There is
Right, right.
Cantonese and Mandarin, and then there's all the
Uh
dialects
huh.
from all the places. And
Yes,
then you have places like
exactly.
Nepal and all that things. It's a big amalgam of different cultures, kind of China. So, do you think that's why Japan and maybe the mainland is so different? Even though you could assume, and again, that's just me assuming, you could assume that they
Mhm.
basically came from the same place.
That's a good question. If you think about it, I'm also not an expert to that because to me as a foreigner, it's hard to understand the deeper origin of the Japanese because
Right,
um, like every other countries in the world, they are the primitive primitive groups of people living in that country before it was invaded by the civilized group.
right.
So, like in America, we have the Native Americans, and before the Native Americans, there were the Neanderthals and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
So, in Japan, as I have studied from the museums they
Okay.
show, they also originated from the Neanderthals of Asia and all the cavemen and stuff like that, all
Yeah.
the tribal people. And yes, they were invaded by the some groups from China, from mainland China. But like America, these are the rebels from China. So these are
Oh,
like, yeah, so these are like like people from England, like
all
who's the
right.
first president, Washington.
That makes
So
sense. That actually
yeah, so
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
yeah, so there's a group of the Chinese natives who didn't like the dynasty because it's too much for them.
Right.
So they're like, okay, so let's get out of this island. Let's tour from wherever sea we can. Well, I mean, like
Right.
let's venture the sea,
Yeah.
and whatever land we can find,
They're
let's
just like
settle down there.
they were just like fuck this shit. I'm out and just found Japan.
Exactly. And then it's not just that. If you think about it, there's Taiwan, there's the nearby countries, which is South
Right.
Korea.
Yep.
That's why if you think about it, these East Asian countries are very much alike, and their Chinese characters, what Chinese characters are almost the same. It's
Right.
just in a different stroke, and that's how it all began. So they just venture out in the sea, and whichever land they land to, that's theirs. And
Interesting.
whoever wants to follow this group, yeah,
So
then
it's
they
kind of
started
like
building their own empire.
it's kind of like what happened with North America then, when all like English people and European people just decided to leave Europe and to go to that new land, right? Which was what became the U.S. later,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you kind of see the same different like the same kind of parallels, right? Where you have all
yeah.
those Europeans going to North America and starting their
Mhm.
own society there, which is in a way inspired by where they came from,
Exactly.
but different because people were like, we don't want to do the same shit, right? So we're gonna do it
Yeah,
different, which you also see in the language, right? English from the
exactly.
U.S. is mostly different than English from the UK, for instance.
And Australia as well, because people in
Australia,
Australia,
yes.
they were rebellions that
Well,
were
I mean,
taken out.
Australia was a little different as well because like a lot of the people in Australia coming from the British Empire were actually prisoners, right? Because
Yeah,
Australia was kind of the big prison of the British Empire kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. So that's how it happened, and like every Americans in the states, they destroyed the tribes of
Yeah,
people who lived there, and it's the same thing in Japan. They killed the tribes who they can kill because they have more civilized weapons.
right.
Um, yeah, so they killed the tribesmen, and some of them, some tribes in Japan, they didn't like what this group did, so they also migrated to other parts of Japan,
Okay.
and they made their own kingdoms. That's why there's so many kingdoms in Japan.
Mm,
And if you think about it, each area in Japan has castles,
right.
and these are the groups within a group who were like, oh, I didn't like your system, we're gonna build our own empire, and this is gonna be our territory. And if you think about it, most of their castles and stuff like that are almost the same, and the only difference that will recognize these castles are the crests. Is that the crests?
Yep.
The circle and the whatever design they have.
Yep.
So they in every roof, in every house, there's this specific design that symbolizes which tribe you are, which
Oh,
kingdom you are. So
interesting.
if yeah, so if you visit the Osaka Castle, they have this similar crest in every corner of the castle. It's all the same design. And if you go to Hiroshima, they also have a different kind of crest that is similar to every floor, and same with every castle in all areas of Japan.
Huh.
And that's how it is. And you might wonder, okay, so why are they still um, why are they still almost the same despite different empires and stuff like that? Because I think so. They started with one group, and they ventured from the sea, and then they were like, okay, this is our culture. This is how it's gonna be. um, I think it was only about greed and about territorial issues that became a problem. But when it comes to unity and culture, stick, they stick with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like the typical historical stuff, they kill each other from
yeah,
kingdom to kingdom.
pretty typical thing, yeah. And
Yeah,
and then they decided to unite under one emperor.
yeah,
Is that
exactly.
what happened? Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yep. Go ahead. I'm listening.
yeah, I really can understand the origins of.
Oh, what?
I read, no matter how I study the history of every museum in Japan, it's still different because most of them are not in English.
Yeah.
And most of the person I am with is Shingo, so he's just like not really he doesn't really have a thing for historical stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because sometimes I know more of Japan's history than he does,
Which makes
and I'm
sense,
like,
right?
oh, dude,
I don't know. I think
yeah,
it makes sense because a lot of people who live in a certain area, who are from this area, they're not necessarily interested in the history of the place, right? That happens a lot.
yeah, definitely.
Whereas when you come from the outside, it's easier to be interested in that because you want to understand, right? You want to know where the people are coming from.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you because even me, I don't even know the entire history of the Philippines, but
Yeah.
some people know they're not even Filipino.
Yeah, I mean it's the same with me it's the same with me in France, right? Like I know I know the basic history of France, but like I don't know all the details of anything. But some people who just are more interested in me coming from other countries might know like a lot more than
uh,
I do about France, right? Like
yeah.
I'm sure I know more about Canada living here than a lot of Canadian people who were born here.
Ah, that's true. That's very
Yeah.
true. It's just funny because when we went to Hakodate and then there's this area called Goryokaku. It means the Pentagon. So Go is five,
Okay.
Kaku is sides. So Goryokaku.
All right.
And I told Shingo, I'm like, hey, do you know that the Goryokaku Pentagon is worldwide? Like you can see this in Germany and in other parts of Europe. And he's like, I don't know.
Oh no.
And I was like, yeah, no, seriously. And then I showed him from the, I showed him from the, uh, from the post, no, not from the posters, but from the stuff we see on the wall
Yeah.
when we went to the museum. And I'm like, see, it's here in Germany and in this area. I think also in Amsterdam. I don't remember, but most of them are in Europe. And I was
Hmm.
like, see, they have a Pentagon here. And he's like, ooh, interesting. And I'm like, man, you're Japanese. Why don't you know this? I mean, you're from Hokkaido and you don't even know that.
That's funny.
And he's
I
like,
mean, one of the most famous Pentagon building is the one in the U.S., right?
exactly, exactly. And it's kind of funny because I'm like, and like you're from Hokkaido, you don't even know that. And he does this cartoon. I don't know, showing his hands with a face.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, it's like doing that, and then I make a and then I joke him sometimes. I'm like, oh, I can call it, Shingo. You also have another name. You're like Mister. I don't know. Orosai, orosai.
that's funny.
And then sometimes I want to, sometimes I make jokes, random jokes from him. I'm like, hey, where does the pizza come from? And before he answers, I'm like, hey, I think I know. I don't know. And then he spanks me in the
Well,
ass.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of the same too sometimes. I'm kind of the
Oh,
same.
but
Like
don't you know? Yeah.
it's like it's not necessarily that. Like no, if you ask me like a knowledge question about something,
Mhm.
right? Like either I know or I don't know, right? But if I know, I'm gonna answer, right? But when you ask me sometimes to like decide something, like
Uh huh.
a lot of the time I'm gonna be like, it's just like whatever, you choose kind of thing, right? Like, if I win Amber and it's like, okay, what are we gonna eat tonight? I don't know, like whatever kind of thing.
Oh my god.
But if you ask me, okay, so like, where did this come from and how does it work? And then I'm just gonna tell you, no problem.
It's just funny because I think it's a very common thing for men to do that.
It's a guy's thing, I think. Yeah,
I think so, yeah, because like women are very specific.
yeah,
Like we love detail. We put emotions in everything, and I guess you already know that.
yeah,
So like if we want to eat at a restaurant, or like we just want to eat at a restaurant that will like make us either comfortable or will, make the day right. But guys like you in general are like, I don't know, as long as we put something in our mouth, that's fine.
yeah. I mean, yeah, essentially, right?
Oh yeah. But we women are like, oh, I feel like eating Italian today because I just ate pasta yesterday and I want to look after my carbs, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
And then guys are like, yeah.
I feel that, and maybe I'm generalizing, but I feel that guys are a lot less picky than girls in general, right?
In general, right?
Like yeah, generally speaking, because obviously there are some exceptions, but like, see, like when I'm with Amber and it's time to decide what we're gonna have for dinner, like
Uh-huh.
to me it literally does not matter because
Okay.
I will eat anything. Like
Oh.
there are very few things I don't like, and the few things I
Uh-huh.
don't like I know she doesn't like either, so I don't have to worry about that,
Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
But on her side, between what she likes, which is not a lot, what she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like, which is a lot, and what she can't eat without being sick, which is a little bit, like
Okay.
it's actually hard to decide. So when she's like, "What do you want to eat?" my natural answer is to be like, I don't know, because it doesn't really matter what I want to eat or what I can eat. It's more important about what you can eat because you're the one uh, who
The
has
specific taste.
yeah, who has to decide more specifically about what you want and what you can eat, right?
Yeah. That's interesting.
hmm
So aside from food, what else do you have trouble deciding in detail?
Um,
Hmm.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Like I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes, like when we're trying to decide a game to play together or something like that, I'm not
Uh-huh.
always very decisive. Like I have my days where I just want to play something specifically, right? But some days I'm like it doesn't matter, or I don't really feel like playing,
Okay.
kind of thing. So I'd be more like, oh, I don't know, just whatever you want, kind of thing. Um,
Oh, okay.
but like for for other things, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like usually, it's a lot about like food related things or like places we might want to go, things like that. Especially when she's here, right? Because if she wants to go somewhere, like to me, like I know the place, right? So I don't necessarily
Uh-huh.
have like a need to go anywhere because I already know the place, but
Okay.
she doesn't necessarily know all the places, right? So when we're
Okay.
like, okay, today let's not be lazy for once. Let's go somewhere. Let's do something. And like, what do you want to do? Like to me, it's like, oh, I don't know. What do you want to do? I'm from here. I don't care. Like I know all the places. It's like, what do you want to see that you haven't seen before, kind of thing, right?
Right, right.
So that happens a bit.
But I think it really depends on the person or as an individual because like for you, you don't originally came from Canada, and but
Right.
at the same time, you don't really care about, like all the detail and historical stuff and acting like a tourist in Canada. Whereas for me, I don't really live here. I work here.
hmm
Well, technically, almost technically, I do live here because of work, but I treat it like, hey, it's an opportunity for me to see something about Japan, and I want to know everything about it. And
Right.
whenever there's a friend who who visits and asks for advice, I definitely specifically know where this guy would enjoy going to based on the interest he or she really wants to see in Japan. Um, yeah, so I guess it's really an individual's perspective
Right. But
because
it
yeah,
also depends on the circumstances, right? Because you've been in Japan for what, 3 years?
I'm already in my fifth year.
50 years, holy shit, times five. God damn it. It's been like damn 5 years, holy shit. But anyway,
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
and I was just saying 3 years earlier, and you didn't even correct me. It's been 5 years. God damn.
So there you go. It's 5 years.
Wow. Uh, shit, we're not getting any younger. Anyway, like I've been in Canada for almost 15.
Oh
Right.
my god.
Yeah, I know, right? So like no, like what you were saying like was true for me in the first few years, right? When I moved here, like when I actually moved here and stayed here, I was kind
Right.
of the same, right? You know, going out trying to learn about, you know, about the country and like how it works and like the little bit of a history of it, which is also
Yeah.
like necessary for me to know about the history about Canada if I want to actually become Canadian eventually, because
Yeah.
there's a test for that. But that's beside the point. But like I've basically done all of that, right? Because I've been here for 15 years. So like I'm at a point where, and I guess it's also a cultural thing, right? Where
Okay.
I'm basically integrated in the country and in the society here, right?
All
Um,
right.
when I talk to people, like they don't like they can tell by my accent that I'm not necessarily from here, but
Uh,
they don't know if I'm French from France or if I'm French from Quebec. They don't
okay.
they don't automatically assume that I'm not Canadian. Like in a lot of people's minds, when I tell them, "Oh, I'm not actually Canadian yet. I'm still technically a French citizen living in Canada," people are like, "What? I thought you were Canadian." Because I've been here for so long that I basically
Mm.
do things, act and react the same way a basic Canadian would do, right? So
Yeah.
like I don't have that need to dig deeper because I'm already deep into it, right?
Right.
To me doesn't really matter. But for someone coming from the outside, whether they're visiting or living there for like short amount of time, like they might be more interested in those things, kind of like what you are
Yeah.
with Japan, right? Even though you've been there for 5 years, I think the
It's
cult.
still 5, not 15.
Yeah, but like even like 5 years is still like a certain amount of time. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit of time, right? But
Uh-huh.
I think the difference in culture between Japan and the Philippines is like so wide compared to what I had to go through between Europe and Canada, right? Like the difference in
Oh,
culture between Europe and Canada, yeah, it's different. Yeah, we do things differently. The place looks different, and like the cultures are all different. But like it's nothing compared to something like between the Philippines and Japan, where yeah, they're both country from Asia, but they're like nothing alike. Whereas between Europe and North America, you find stuff that is similar,
okay. That
right?
makes sense. Okay. That also makes sense why my Taiwanese student, online English student, now living in Tokyo. And there was a time I asked her about festivals. And I was like, hey, it's summer. What do you plan to do? And she's like, I don't know, just go back to Taiwan and visit my family. And I'm like, but there are like a lot of Japanese festivals around. Don't you want to see that? And she's like, not really my thing because it's also a thing in Taiwan.
Yeah. So it's
And
like yeah, it's nothing like super original or different to them.
yeah, and it's kind of, to me as a foreigner, also a Southeast Asian foreigner, to me it's different because in my understanding, as long as you're a foreigner, anything you see in Japan is interesting.
Right.
It's just different. It's just different in her opinion because even if she's foreigner, she's East Asian as well.
Hmm.
But she doesn't see Japanese festivals as something unique.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm still like, yeah, but Taiwan is still different from Japan, and to her, it's the same, which is like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, because they have they have similar things, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
necessarily the same things, but similar things, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's why she understands the concept of those festivals they have in Japan because they have similar stuff in Taiwan. Whereas, you know, you don't necessarily have those things in the Philippines, right? Like we don't have those things in Europe or in Canada. Like, I mean, we have kind of similar things, but it's not like so ingrained in the culture. It's a really cultural thing in Asia to have those things, right?
yeah.
At least in East Asia.
I think so. And I think that's the reason why, yeah, to her it's nothing.
Yeah.
Because to us, it's, and this is also funny because, like, my ex boyfriend, the doctor one, he also asked me, like, why is the Philippines so unique? I mean, like, if you think about it, all Asian countries, including Southeast, they have their own culture, they have their own religion, they have their own language. How come the Philippines is different? Like, you are like Catholic and Christian, like what you see in Europe. You have more what Americanized stuff,
Hmm.
restaurants and move. You prefer Hollywood movies. You speak in English. You have Spanish family values. Why are you so diverse? Where in other parts of Asia, they are not like that. And you in the Philippines, you're the only Christian country in Asia, whereas if you think about it, the rest of Asia are either Buddhist or whatever, or yeah, it's usually Buddhist, right?
Yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, there are different kinds of religion, but Catholicism is definitely not the main one. Even though you do find it, I'm sure you do find Christian people in Japan. But I mean, like the reason to that to me is pretty simple, right? It's not like Japan's been invaded by three countries.
Yeah,
It's it's
that's true.
it's not like China's been invaded by three countries, right?
Yeah,
It's not like no, Japan had a U.S. base uh, for years and years, like planted
yeah,
there,
it's just new.
right? So like
Mm,
to me, that kind of things, like difference between the Philippines and maybe other Asian countries, is pretty obvious, right? Especially when you see the Spanish and the American side of it, is because it's literally part of your history, right? You were basically American for a certain amount of time, and you were basically Spanish for a certain amount of time, kind of thing, right?
yeah, right.
Which did not happen to Japan and China, even though they did have European Portuguese invaders and stuff like that. Like they were never fully occupied by other countries, right?
Yeah,
Or at least not to the point where it radically changed the culture.
yeah,
That's why you got a lot of more mixed people in the Philippines, whereas you don't see those mixed people in Japan.
yeah, that's true. And this is not related to any topic we have, but
Hmm?
do you know that, but maybe you do know. Do you know that in Vietnam they also have this French culture?
They do.
Yeah. So they
Okay.
have this, I think in Vietnam. Um they have this French bread kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, do you know this? So I think they were also conquered by the French.
Well,
Was
I
it
mean,
Vietnam?
um,
Vietnam.
Vietnam wasn't really conquered by the French, but
Okay.
the French Empire had what used to be called Indochina,
Okay.
which is not far from Vietnam. Let me look on a map. Um, oh,
You
actually,
googling it?
yeah, I'm definitely googling it. So actually, Vietnam was part of Indochina. So yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. That
It's kind of funny 'cause
that they have
when
French
I
influence.
when I watch somebody feed Phil, so I think it's one of his first few episodes about Vietnam, and he featured about the French bread, and the some Vietnamese actually can speak French, which is like surprising to me. And
That actually makes sense because
mhm.
Vietnam. And same as other countries, it used to be part of Indochina, which was a French colony.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. And maybe, and this is, I'm kind of surprised as well. Also, Laos? Is it Laos or Lao? I don't know.
I said Laos, but I don't actually know.
Laos.
It's the same thing. It's the same area. It also was part of it.
Ah.
Yeah.
So what's
And
the aim of? Hmm. Yeah.
that actually lasted for very, very long. You know that in the like there was this war going on French Indochina, this war between like right after the or during the Second World War actually, like all the way into the 1940s. So like I'm talking
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
like
from the
very
1940s.
not long ago. It was still under French control,
Yeah, yeah,
and the French people basically gave that up in like in the 50s or something. So like it's very recent still.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. That's why the people are still, used to some French traditions.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And it's very interesting, and you'll kind of probably be offended by this. They have the tradition of putting condensed milk over coffee.
Ew, this is gross.
I know, right? So I don't know how it tastes like, but they're very proud of doing this.
I don't
So I
understand.
think um I just saw that from the documentary show of Somebody Feed Bill, and
Yeah,
I was a little shocked about this because it's a trend for them. Like they're very proud of putting. I'm sure it's not evaporated milk; it's condensed milk.
condensed
They
milk.
they
Yeah,
just put condensed milk on pure Vietnamese coffee.
this is so
I think it's
sad. So sad because Vietnamese coffee is actually so good by itself.
I know, right? I'm like, why?
I mean,
And I think
like
okay.
it sounds sad to me because I'm a black coffee drinker. I drink my coffee black, right? I put no sugar, no cream, no nothing in it, because I feel that's how you can appreciate the flavor of coffee more than if you put stuff in it.
Mm,
But like, I understand why people like sugar and cream in their coffee. That's not the thing I do. But condensed milk, that's a little extreme, in my opinion.
yeah. Mm, I'm not really a fan of. I can stay with cream and sugar if it's instant coffee because instant coffee on its own is just really good.
It's yeah, it's not very good. I agree.
But anything with pure coffee to me is abuse, and it's kind of funny. Okay, now
Pure coffee is abuse. All
hold on. Well, this is a funny topic. We're gonna change our topic to coffee, right?
right, all right, all right.
Okay,
Let's go.
so
Let's talk about pure coffee and how it's abuse.
okay, so last week, yeah, the first Saturday of my summer vacation, so I had French fine dining with the ladies,
Yep.
and most of them are American, which was really interesting because one of them is Scottish,
Okay.
and so anyway, so after our big meal, our big course, we had our dessert, and then we had our coffee, and then like there came a moment where the Americans they put cream and sugar in their coffee, and they put, like, if I remember, they put like three syrups of sugar and like two, I don't know, like a bunch of cream in there,
Okay.
and their coffee was almost white.
Yeah, essentially.
And I was like randomly, selfishly, independently said my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Oh my God, you just killed your coffee."
Yep.
And then they all like, "What? What do you mean you just killed your coffee?" And I'm like, "Because like if you really want to appreciate coffee, you just leave it alone like that.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. I
put
agree.
a little
That's
respect." I'm like, "Put
that,
like I was like, put a little respect on the coffee, drink it as it is." And they were like, "What do you mean? Black coffee is like for old people." And I'm like, I don't. Oh, and I was like, I don't know if it has something to do with my age because technically I am the eldest among you. And and I was like, yeah, but I guess you're comparing your coffee with Starbucks because Starbucks is very American. And yes, I never go to Starbucks unless I had to if I wanted to study Japanese or I just need some coffee time or I just need a place where like people would be very comfortable in studying.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't go to Starbucks. And they were like, oh, that's a big violation to the American society. And I'm like, well, guess
What?
what? I'm not American. So let it be. And they were
That's
like,
that's
that's it.
funny.
And they were like, and that while they were stirring their abused coffee, they were like, "Oh, actually, that's the beauty of Starbucks. It's all about the frap and the cream and all the all the sugary stuff you add in there. That's the best about Starbucks." And I'm like, "No, that's the worst about
It
Starbucks
actually
because
is
that's
the
why."
worst. I mean,
Exactly. And I was like,
it's the most popular about Starbucks. People love their fraps and love their cream and love like all their sugar stuff, which is a very it's a very American thing to do, right? Like
"Yeah,
all those oversized frappuccinos and sugar stuff. But the basics of Starbucks, the way it was created, was from this dude who went to Italy and
yeah,"
experienced
that's what he said.
an actual real coffee shop and was like, dude, I want to do the same thing in the States. That's gonna work great. And that's how it started. Starbucks is technically primarily about the coffee. Right? It has to be about the black coffee itself. Then obviously it devolved into all those creamy, sugary things because it's the US. So that's what people wanted,
Exactly.
and
And
that's what it became. But for any
yeah,
coffee lover, like if you actually like black coffee, you don't go to Starbucks for a frappuccino. You go to Starbucks for a black coffee. And
exactly.
some would say, if you like black coffee, you don't go to Starbucks at all. You go to a small independent coffee shop, which I can kind of agree. I can understand that, but
Uh-huh.
like for me, putting cream and sugar in your black coffee at Starbucks makes me really sad. It makes me really sad. Sadly, it's a more it's a more popular thing to do. Very few people actually drink their coffee black.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because so like I told them, the only reason why I want to go to Starbucks is either I want uh no, no, no. I said if ever I'm going to order coffee in a Starbucks, it would only be one thing. And they were like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "Black coffee." And they all laughed. And they were like, "Why do you have to go to Starbucks if you're not going to buy any of those flavored coffee?" And I was like, well, I go for the black one because to be honest and to be fair, black coffee and Starbucks is pure coffee, which I am very happy and satisfied about.
Yep.
Um, if I go to Costco and I want to, if I want to burn some money, yes, I will buy Starbucks coffee, but that
Mhm.
definitely would be black and I wouldn't put anything with it because it's abuse. And they were like, you! So you are abused. You think we Americans are abusing coffee? And I was like this, and I was like this. Listen to this. I was like, yeah. Do you really know the meaning of frappuccino? And they were like, yeah, right, okay. So let us know. And I was like, frappuccino is like it has a nickname. It's called frap. What is frap? It means fucking crap. That's what it's frappuccino. Fucking crappuccino.
Oh, that's funny.
So
I'll have to reuse that.
and Laura, being the only Scottish, she was like laughing her out, and she was like, "Oh my God, Jennifer, you are the ultimate black coffee lover."
That's funny.
And Laura was like sharing her story, which is true. She was like, "Oh my God, you can never make Jennifer drink instant coffee." And she was like, because I really asked my mom to like buy me the best instant coffee from Scotland,
Yeah.
and I brought it to her apartment. So I invited Laura for like a sleepover,
Mhm.
and because we had a Japanese test for the next day. So in during the breakfast, I prepared black coffee as usual, and I prepared her crepe. Is it crepe or crepe?
Yep.
Um, and then yeah, she brought this instant coffee, and she's like, "Hey, Jeffrey, this is something new. It's it's instant coffee from Scotland." And I'm like, "What's new about that? It's still instant." And she's like, "No, no, 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 you don't get it. So this is from Scotland, and they brewed it from real coffee, and they turned it into instant." And I'm like, "Yeah, but instant coffee is still abused because you put a lot of elements in there to make it instant. That's why it's instant. You put a
Instant
lot of
coffee. Instant
chemicals
coffee
in
is
there."
just gross. Like it's so bad.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what type it is and how
Yeah,
premium it is and where it comes from. It's gross.
exactly. Exactly. And
It,
she was
like
like,
just
"No, just
like just thinking about the way it's made. Like just thinking about the way it's made. Instant coffee is basically okay. The way to make instant coffee, you can make it at home by yourself if you want to. You brew a cup of coffee, regular cup of coffee. You put it in a cup, and then you evaporate all the water from
exactly.
your
Oh my
coffee.
God, thank you very much."
And then all what is left is basically the dry oil from the coffee, which
Hmm.
is the powder for the instant coffee. And then later you just add hot water to that to rehydrate that thing. But
Oh
it's
my God.
disgusting. It's gross. Like I
It
don't.
is because it's like a cow dehydrating all the nutrients and natural oil and making it into what? Beef jerky.
Yeah. I mean, beef jerky is pretty good. I like beef jerky, but yeah.
So yeah, moving on to the story. So she's like,
Yeah.
"No, Jennifer, you have to trust me. This is like the best instant coffee you'll ever taste." And I'm like, you have to pay me for that if I'm not if I get disappointed. And she's like, "No, no, no, but you have to listen to me. This is really, really good instant coffee. So please listen to me and please humble yourself and have a taste of my Scottish instant coffee." And I'm like, okay, let's do this because you're my friend and I respect you, so I'll do that. So she prepared me the instant coffee and she did her best to make it really good. And it's kind of funny. Yeah, I kind of laugh at myself too because when she handed me the cup, I looked like I was like in deep disgust, and I
Oh,
had I even had the fear of holding the cup.
oh
And she was
no.
like, "Come on, stop all the drama and just drink it." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna try." And then I sip, and her face was like all the hopes
Yeah.
and the curiosity and all the smiles of hope. And I was like, "Sorry, I can't." And she's like,
Oh.
"Oh my God, Jennifer, I tried." And she was like, "Oh, that's a waste. I'm gonna drink it all." And I'm like, "Okay,
Okay.
go ahead."
There you go. Be my guest. Have your shady coffee. I'll have mine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's so funny. She really told the story to my American friends, and my American friends felt so bad. And they were like really praising Starbucks, like every basic girl in the world.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, I know you can call me basic, but I cannot be basic with everything. But with Starbucks, yes, you can call me like every basic bitch in America. But yes, we love Starbucks because it's Starbucks. It's all about the frappuccino." And I'm like, "Yeah, the fucking frappuccino."
Yep.
And yeah, so they were like, "But that's America, everything is like evolving with sugar." And I'm like,
Yep. I
"I'm not
mean,
gonna say anything."
it's. I feel that it's slowly changing as people realize that sugar and cream and fat is not necessarily the best for you.
Uh,
So like people are becoming more aware, I think, of those things.
um,
But it's still a big thing. Like I know
yeah.
where I work, we sell a lot of black coffee in the morning.
Oh.
Uh, But like once it gets to the afternoon, all we sell is just like frappuccinos, and we sell quite a bit of
Because
I
there's people
w-
coming in.
we sell quite a bit of iced teas as well, and like iced caramel macchiatos and all that stuff. Because yeah, because of the younger people, right? They don't necessarily
Yeah,
drink black coffee. Like black coffee has that stigma of either old people drink that, or
right.
like the workers just grab that before they go to work in the morning and just put like a bit of sugar and cream in there, and that's how they get their day started. But most of the
Right.
younger people, they don't really care for black coffee, which is fine. Like I don't really care if people like black coffee or
Yeah.
not, and I also don't really care if people like Starbucks or not. I know Starbucks is a very divisive coffee in terms of subject
It's a very overrated, should I
in
say?
terms of quality. Like a lot of people
Okay.
a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, you know what? I don't care. Like a lot of people hate the frappuccinos and the lattes and stuff because they say it's too sugary, they say it's too expensive, they say it's too this, it's too that. And I'm like, you know what? You're right, because I don't care. I don't drink that stuff. I drink literally the only thing I drink from there, and I work there, is goddamn freaking black coffee. That's all I drink. Like anything else I don't care. So you can say how disgusting our frappuccinos are. I'm like, sure, I don't care, but you know what? That's 55%. That's 55% of my sales every day. So that's all I gotta say about it.
There you go. There you go. That I don't know about you, Florence, but I get excited. Yeah, I know. Maybe I'm hipster. Um, but I get excited whenever I go to Starbucks and order my black coffee.
Yeah,
It's so funny. It's so funny, right? Because like whenever I go there, well, I go there in here in Japan, obviously. Um, every Japanese like, is it cashier? Yeah, when they ask me,
yeah,
their faces were like expecting, oh, I would like to, order like what, the most in
yeah.
of the season,
Like
whatever
yeah,
the
like
most
the seasonal drink. Yeah,
yeah, and they were like, okay, yes, ma'am, what is your order? And I was like, oh, I like a black coffee, please. And their face suddenly were like,
it's like what?
what? Uh,
Where are you coming from?
exactly, and I am not really self complimenting myself, but I not looking 35, but on my looking like on my 20s or like just graduated or probably a student
Yeah, you look a lot
ordering black coffee.
you look a lot younger than what you are.
Yeah, and if you think about it, and my friend Manami, she actually mentioned also, she posted one of our group photos where we attended a Susukino festival, and she told me, you know what? You may be the oldest among the group, but look at you. You look like you're the youngest.
You look like the baby of the group.
Exactly. And unfortunately, I'm the grandma of the group. But
That's funny.
anyways, that's great. It's just funny,
I
right?
wish
It's
I could
just
say
funny.
that. I wish I could say I look like the youngest of the people I know.
Unfortunately, you're just the grandpa and period.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep, essentially that's true. I can't even deny it. I'm the guy who's too old for this shit.
that's your motto.
That's my
I'm too
motto.
old for this shit.
That's that's my catchphrase.
Exactly.
That's
And you do know that I know this is gonna change the topic again, but I want to
okay.
go back of coffee. You do know that Grumpy Cat already
I
died.
know. I'm so sad. I was so sad when I heard about it. That was a while ago
Um,
now. But
yeah. Is it because of sickness, old age? But he's just seven.
I th-
She's
yeah, I think she got sick, and but they found out too late, and yeah, that was too late.
oh, so sad.
Yeah.
Because like my sister really, really loved Grumpy Cat, and she when Grumpy Cat was just only on at 9 gag, she was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, I think this is gonna be Florence's favorite cat
She really
because
was. Yeah. I have a Grumpy
yeah,
Cat plushie. I don't know what she is, but I have a
oh,
plushie. I have a bunch of stuff about her. Yeah.
it's just sad. But how about the? Is it a brother or a sister of Grumpy Cat?
I
I
think
still don't know.
brother. Yeah. I can't remember the name of the other
Oh,
one, but yeah.
that's so sad. Yeah.
Yep.
but anyway, going back to the coffee topic.
Okay.
So it's kind of ironic because if you would like to know the coffee culture in the Philippines, 90% of the Filipinos are very used to instant coffee.
Yeah.
In fact, I grew up with instant coffee. The first coffee I tasted at 7 was instant coffee,
Yeah.
and I drank instant coffee for like 23 years, so from 7
Hmm.
until 30 years old. The only time I started appreciating black coffee was when I was here in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because I
because
mean, you did go to
yeah,
Starbucks a few times in the Philippines, right? When I was still there, because I remember you sending me pictures of it. Uh,
yeah, but the most common drink I drank there was, the typical sugary drink, which
okay.
was mocha frappuccino, I think.
Okay.
It was my favorite because somehow it's a little bitter.
Mm,
I think that was the roots of why I appreciate
yeah.
black coffee
Plus,
because I like
plus
the bitter.
chocolate and coffee go well together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't really like anything with too much sugar in it. Like if you already put caramel sauce and then you're gonna put like float, uh, whatever,
Yeah.
not float, but the cream. What do you call that?
The whipped cream.
Um, maybe forgot the word. The foamy cream. What do you call that?
Yeah, the whipped cream.
Oh yeah, there we go. The whipped cream. Yeah. Um, I'm not really a fan of that, but anyway, yeah. When I moved to Japan, most of the restaurants I ate at, like if I'm going to order coffee, they really give the pure black coffee, and they give the option of, like the, if I can say condiments. No, it's not
Yeah.
condiments. The cream and the sugar, they are given to me separately. So
Yeah.
it's,
That's
you know,
that's
it's
that's
tasty.
uh
Yeah.
that's how we call it here. We call it condiment, which is really strange when you think about it. But like the place here in our stores where you have the cream and the sugar and stuff, it's called a condiment stand.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
And there was a time where I was just really not into the condiments. I was like, maybe I should try the black coffee. And then when I started drinking the black coffee, I felt like, oh god damn it, this is much better than the condiments. And it made me feel like, why in the 23 years of my life I didn't know anything about black coffee. I was violated.
Wow, that's a little extreme, but okay.
I was violated from my innocence. I was
uh,
voiced the truth about black coffee. But yeah, I discovered that black coffee was really way better than any other coffee with all of, fancy stuff in there. And then
I
yeah, my
agree.
friends and
I agree.
I've
Although, like, I do understand why some people don't like black coffee, just like regular black coffee. But I do feel that that's the best way to, like, especially when you've been drinking it for a long time, you can actually feel differences between one type of coffee or the other. Uh,
yeah.
for a lot of people, no, coffee tastes like coffee, right? They don't really see the difference. I've been working with coffee for a long time, and I've been drinking coffee for even longer. So like
Mhm.
me drinking coffee black allows me to feel the differences in coffee, especially when you drink coffee that come from different places and are roasted differently.
Yeah,
It really makes a
exactly.
difference.
Exactly. That's why yeah, it's I really appreciated the moment when I accidentally drank coffee as it is. And it's also kind of ironic maybe because among all the places that I would appreciate black coffee, it's in Japan because
Yeah,
Japan is not a coffee culture, it's a tea
it
culture,
is. Yeah, really. It's actually kind of surprising. They
right?
have
So,
they have some
mm,
Starbuckses over there in Japan. They look so good. The way they're designed in Japan. Some of them
yeah,
like
they
like
are.
that. They just opened a new one. I think it's in Tokyo. And Is it in
Oh, the
Tokyo?
biggest one. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I think it is in Tokyo, or is it in Kyoto?
It
Or
is in
it's
Tokyo.
in Tokyo, and it's like
It's,
it looks amazing. Like just the design of it, it's like wow. Like I wish
oh,
we had that.
you're talking about the traditional Japanese
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
architecture.
yeah. That
Oh,
one.
it's in Kyoto.
Hmm?
It's in Kyoto.
It's in Kyoto. Okay, I wasn't sure if that's Tokyo or Kyoto. Um, that one looks amazing. I'm like, dude, I wish we had shit like that here. 'Cause it was great.
Oh, there's shit like that here. Um, they do have the biggest um Starbucks
In
branch in
in
Tokyo.
Tokyo, it's like on several floors, right, or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's almost like Starbucks Mall.
right.
They say it's really huge. I've never been there, but if ever I come visit to Tokyo again, I would definitely love to go there.
Yeah,
Um,
take some
not
pictures. I want to
because I
see it.
yeah, not because I want to be like every basic girl in the world. I just want to be there to my black coffee.
Yeah,
Isn't it funny? You're going to the biggest branch of Starbucks just to order black.
just, it's just gonna. What do you want? Just a tall dark coffee. Okay, cool.
It's not even in a cup. I want it in a cup. You know, like the
Yeah,
very very classic. If
that's
I should
pretty
say
funny.
hipster, because it's just not a thing in Starbucks. Because whenever you talk about Starbucks, it's all about the sugar.
Yeah, yeah. How much does a cup of coffee cost in Starbucks where you are?
That's a good question. I think it's around. I don't know the size though, because again, I'm not really into
Yeah,
Starbucks.
that's fine.
It starts from around 400 yen. That's 45, $4.50
But $4 for
for
like
the
for
small
what?
one.
For like a medium? For a small one?
Yeah, is it small or venti? I don't know what it's called. Tall? Is it tall?
Tall is
Oh,
a small.
tall.
Tall is a small. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So a tall is yeah,
It's
$4.50.
about $4. God damn, that's a bit expensive. Very expensive.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Here for us, like here in Canada, for a small coffee, it's just a bit over $2
Okay.
for black
Well,
coffee.
no, in America, no, in the Philippines, it's like $1.50 for
Yeah,
a
but
tall drink.
okay, but then everything's cheaper in the
That's
Philippines.
pretty
So,
cheap, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we all
But the
know.
thing is, like when you think about it, like is $1.50 for a cup of coffee in the Philippines? Like it looks cheap to us, but for someone living in the Philippines, is that really cheap?
It's fucking expensive.
Right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like it looks cheap to us, and we're like, okay, well, $1.50 for a coffee, that's cool. But when you live there and you make like $10 a month, that's a little that's a little
Oh
pricey.
my God.
Like I don't know how much people make in the Philippines, but like when you make the difference in like when you look at
Um,
when you look at the cost of living, depending on which country you live in, it can be a big difference.
when I was there like 5 years ago, oh my God, 5 fucking years ago, um, the average salary would be like so 50,000 yen. So that's like 50,000 yen. Five. Wait, hold on. 500. 50. Okay, hold on. 50,000. 1,000 is 10. Is it 100? 500. 500 US dollars
Okay,
a month.
a month, yeah.
That's very small, right?
That's not a lot.
And it's like it's even less than the basic salary here in Japan.
Oh yeah,
Because
so,
like the basic salary of Japan that you can survive as an individual would be hold on 2,000, yeah, $2,000 a month.
okay, which is not super high either.
It's the basic, it's the
Yeah,
lowest.
yeah,
I shouldn't say it's the lowest because there are also people who even earn lower. I
yeah.
guess the lower one is 1,500 per
Okay,
month.
all right.
Yeah.
But like I mean, like in terms of kind of minimum to be comfortable, that would be like around $2,000 a month.
Yeah, $2,000,
Okay,
yeah,
which isn't too bad
per
actually
month.
when you think about it. It's
Yeah, it's
not
not bad,
yeah.
especially if you
Like I mean, it depends. Like I'm guessing with that, you have a very small apartment and you have to be really careful with what you spend. But um,
yeah.
I mean, it's pretty all right.
Yeah, and to be fair, like the prices of the vegetables here, according to how much we earn, is pretty reasonable.
Yeah,
Like like a kilo of the is it kilo? I don't know. I don't know.
you can.
Probably a half a kilo, one fourth kilo, I guess. One fourth kilo of potatoes is like $1.50.
Okay,
It's not bad, right?
it's all right.
And like you can make a lot of recipes out of potatoes,
Yeah, for sure. Can make anything
right?
out of potatoes. Potatoes is amazing.
So
I
yeah.
love potatoes.
So my daily grocery like for dinner itself, and yeah, if there's a lot of ingredients to it, I can like use it for then another day. My usual grocery usually costs around $150, and I think that's enough, right? That's cheap. That's not bad.
For like how long does it last you?
If I'm going to like cook a huge amount, that will give me 2 meals.
Only two
Like,
meals?
yeah. Well, that is if I'm going to like splurge with the ingredients. If I'm gonna make pasta or like a really good tasting cuisine. But if I'm just like gonna fry tofu or
Yeah.
just basic stuff, I think. Hold on. Fif- five, five, $1 is on a good. Five. Yeah, $5. Yeah, a $5 grocery is enough.
All right. Okay. So
Yeah,
it's actually not bad. It's actually not bad.
yeah. If I really, really want to be a cheapskate about it, and probably like I buy tofu and some vegetables and just steer whatever it is available. Yeah, $5 is enough to buy basic, yeah, ingredients.
Yeah. To make a meal, to make one thing.
Yeah,
Actually, not. Yeah, it's not
yeah,
bad at all. It's actually pretty good.
yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than buying pre-made stuff or going out. That's for sure.
Exactly. Because like the usual meal here as I mentioned to you a while ago is like at least what is 1,000? So that's $10. Yeah.
Like about
ten
$10. Yeah.
dollars. Yeah, $10 without the drink
Yeah.
and the dessert.
Just the base thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't like it's only even one serving.
Hmm.
And you know how it is with Japanese serving, right?
They're pretty
Everything is
small.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's even yeah, to us it's expensive already. Like $10 meal to me, well to me
Yeah.
is expensive. For Shingo it's nothing. So
Yeah.
it really depends um how you see it because to me I'm a Filipino and
Right.
um
Right.
the
That's
yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Coming like I mean, like a $10 meal in the Philippines is like wow, holy shit, that's expensive, right? Because
exactly. It's
considering how
yeah,
much money you make with that, so like you have that thought process, right? It's like even though you make more
yeah,
money where you are now than you did in the Philippines, it's like you still have that kind of like
yeah.
calculation going in your head, being like, holy shit, that's $10. That's actually expensive, kind of thing. Even if it's not, even
Exactly.
if it's like it's technically not like related to how much you make, like it feels that expensive because that's what you've been kind of growing with.
Exactly. Although I have to say, being here in Japan for like 5 years now, I tend to forget
Yeah.
how much it really costs in the Philippines. So whenever I'm like, hey dad, my fiance just gave me these two melons and they're like only 1,000 yen each, and he's like 500 pesos for just one
For
melon.
one melon.
Yeah, I know. So stop thinking about those quote unquote melons.
I'm sorry, I can't. It's melons. So many jokes, dude.
No! No! Wait, hold on. Let's stick to the melons.
I love me some melons. Not gonna lie.
Wait, hold on. Let's go back to the fruit.
Okay,
What are you?
let's go back to the fruit.
So is a is a $5 melon expensive to you or what?
I don't actually know. I don't usually buy my melons. I just like grabbing them. um, shit, I don't even know how to look that up. Should be able to look it up. How
But
much
yeah,
how much do
okay, there you
melons
go.
cost in Vancouver?
Oh my god.
Let's see. Shit, I don't know how to type apparently.
What the
Vancouver.
hell?
Watermelons and melons. Superstore. Alright, let's go into Superstore's website. Alright, so hold on. Well, what kind of melon are we talking about?
Like we're talking about cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe. Alright, so it's
Yeah.
about between $4 and $5 here for one.
Four and five. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Wow, that's expensive.
Yeah. It
But
is.
yeah, so like one of the cheapest
Oh wait. No, I found another one.
cantaloupe.
Oh
You guys should
wait.
check
Hold on,
cantaloupe.
hold on. I was looking at the organic one. The organic shit is always more expensive. The
The organic.
the regular one is about $3.
Oh, well, it's still expensive for
Yeah.
Philippines. Um, the thing is, cantaloupes. I'm gonna have to change the word. Cantaloupes are they are a big thing in the Philippines. Like it's one of our most favorite
I
fruit aside from
love
banana.
cantaloupe. Cantaloupe's so good.
Yeah, they are. And I don't know, it's just refreshing, especially when you put them in the fridge,
It really is. It actually
right?
is.
And they're really good for summer, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, it's a big thing in the
Like I buy
Philippines.
cantaloupe, but I don't buy the whole thing because like
Uh-huh.
I hate having to like cut it and shit like that. So I just buy those like bowls of
The ready ones.
already like pre-cut stuff in them,
Yeah.
cantaloupe and like watermelon and stuff. It's like usually a mix. Like I buy those from the
Mhm.
store. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so for the Philippines, a regular uh piece of like a whole piece of cantaloupe costs like hold on, 100 yen, so that's like $1, just $1.
Oh wow. Okay, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah. Um but to be fair, the skin of the cantaloupe in the Philippines is really fragile,
Right.
if you can say that. It easily breaks if you press it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be damaged, and if it falls down, yes, it will break like
Oh no.
any usual fruit, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's that cheap. But the quality and the taste is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, like it's one of our most favorite fruit aside from the pineapple and the mangoes.
All right.
They're like one of them. Yeah,
I love mangoes too.
pineapple. Yeah, pineapples and mangoes and bananas are like one of the most popular fruits in the Philippines.
Bananas. You like
Um,
bananas?
oh yeah, we go bananas when we see bananas. What the hell did I just say? Um, but yeah,
Nothing.
there was a time I really felt like really eating melons because okay, hold on, cantaloupes.
I mean, nothing wrong with eating melons, you know. I'm not judging.
Like, you killed my childhood. But
Every
anyway,
everybody's welcome here if you want to eat melons. I'm okay with that.
you just killed my childhood and my friend. But anyway, yeah. So I was really surprised on my first visit to Hokkaido. I was like looking for cantaloupe, and lo and behold, like the cheapest cantaloupe I saw was like 300. Was it 300? No, 30 fucking dollars
$30?
a piece.
Holy crap! Wow.
Yeah, and I was like shocked. And I'm like, from $1 to $30. Like, seriously?
Yeah, that's insane.
And I took a picture of that. I took a picture of that. If I remember, it was back in 2015. I took a picture of that and like I shared it on Facebook. And all my Filipino friends were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
They
no.
were really shocked, like they've seen a ghost or something. And I was like, I was in deep shit craving for cantaloupe, and this is what happened to me. Why?
Damn.
Yeah, and that's even the cheapest. The most expensive reaches up to, I'm not exaggerating, hold on. so that's $50, right?
Hmm.
From $100 until $150.
Like, why? Why are they so expensive?
That is a good
Like,
question. There's
what's
actually
what's so special about them? Like, we're not even talking about those weirdly shaped ones that they have right now. How they make
very
like,
floating
how they
one.
make like square ones, like cube ones, and stuff like that. Like, what's so special about them? Like, do they have a special taste, or are they just literally the same thing you find everywhere else?
That's a good question because there's actually a video for that I shared to my dad.
Okay.
I'd probably definitely share it to you as well, so you will know that I'm not lying. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, it's a big question for me as well because like not just cantaloupe, but every other fruit in Japan is really expensive.
Yeah.
We buy fruits in Japan for a piece. It's not even a kilo. We buy
Wow. But why?
for
What's the reason behind that? Is it because
yeah,
again because of the space? So they don't have the space to grow that?
not really. Okay, so if you think about it, farmers are well paid in Japan.
Yeah.
Because like basically the materials they use are really high technology. Like they use machines, trucks, and all those.
Okay.
The materials they use are well what you get from big companies like Nissan, Toyota, and stuff like that.
All right.
They specifically have a brand for farming machines.
Okay.
So they use the brand Isuzu for farming alone. They don't use
Right.
Toyota or whatever. It's Isuzu.
Right. I remember that. Used to
And then
work for them.
there you go. And then another thing is that the quality control. They really prioritize quality control. Um, we all know that Japanese people are very perfectionist, so
Hmm.
anything that is deformed is not accepted. They consider it as garbage, or they just export it to, sadly, third world countries like the Philippines.
Okay.
So yeah, anything that is deformed, they take out. And the thing is, they spend for every seed, they every water they use is expensive. So anything that is deformed is taken out, and they used money with that. That's why
Yeah.
it's very expensive. And the last perfect product that produces cantaloupe is just like if they plant like 1,000 seeds, the only product they can perfectly produce is probably about 10 or
Oh.
20.
Wow.
So
That's why
one
it's so
thousand
expensive.
seeds, yeah,
But
1,000.
that's
Mhm.
crazy. That is just not like how is it even sustainable? Like
That's
them.
a good question,
This is so wasteful, which is really strange coming from a country like Japan to think about how
right?
wasteful it is because they don't look like they would be wasteful people because they're really not.
Right? The irony of everything about Japan, right?
This is so strange,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, that's how the money goes around with the taxes. I just don't
Right.
know how it goes with Canada and other first world countries because, as we all know, almost all first world countries have high tax because of
Yep.
how it goes with the economy, how dealing with this. But anyway, that's one of the reasons why our taxes are very expensive because we don't just pay for like the facilities we have where we live.
Hmm.
We also pay for the homage of the elder people.
Okay.
We pay for our own insurance. We pay for the insurance of all the disasters happening around Japan every year.
Right.
And yeah, we also pay for the farming and all the necessities we take benefit of when it comes to farming, to
Okay.
milking. So all these things
Which makes sense in a way,
involve,
right?
yeah,
That's what taxes should be for, right? It should be for the
exactly,
betterment of the community, right? It should be for everybody. How like
exactly.
like I have a question. How do prices work in Japan? Like for instance, here when you buy something here in North America, it's very different than when you buy stuff in Europe, for instance. So like when you buy something here in North America, you look at the price on the product, and
Yeah,
that price is base price. And then when you go to the till, to the cashier, whatever, to pay for it, you don't actually pay what's written on the product. You pay that plus some tax that goes on top of it.
Right.
So your final
It's also
so your final price is actually more than what you see on the product itself. Whereas when you go in Europe, the prices you see on the product is the final price. Like it includes
right.
all the taxes, so it's easier to kind of count and stuff. Like how does it work in Japan? Do you have like it's like let's say you go buy something and like that thing says like it's 100 yen. So can you just go with actual 100 yen and just get out of there with 100 yen? Or do you have to be ready and pay maybe 120 yen because they add tax on top of that? How does that work?
That's a good question because aside from the taxing and all that shit, we all know that Japan is generally expensive and
Yeah,
the other countries surrounding it oftentimes are very much way cheaper than Japan.
right.
They weigh according to the hold on, to how much an individual earns. So say for example, if I
Yep, but that for that you're talking
yeah,
about income tax, right? Okay,
yeah.
I'm talking about really just going at to the store and buying something.
It usually, yeah, in general, they really derive it from how much the other else um what costs. So say for example, like a cheap stationery costs 100 yen,
Okay,
and if a stationery from the Philippines is like, hold on, 30 pesos, so that's like 60 yen, that's like six cents,
yeah,
maybe 60 cents
60 cents,
in
okay.
US. So if that's 60 cents, and in Japan, they normally sell a pad for like what, $1,
Okay,
because the difference is so huge, they need to put it equally.
okay,
Like if a stationery in Japan is like 100 yen for like a dollar store like that, and from the Philippines it's way cheaper than that, they need to make it equal. I don't know why, but they just need to make it equal because that's like the what the uniform price of everything.
okay,
So that is if the product is way cheap,
right.
but also it depends on the rarity. Is it the word,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
being a rarity, the rarity of a product? Like say for example, coconut oil is very rare
So it's gonna be more
in
expensive. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
yes,
it's one
yeah,
of the basic principle of economics, right?
yeah,
What is rare is
exactly,
expensive. But like so like okay, so when you go to a store,
yeah,
let's say so the prices for the stuff you want to pay for are they're showing for a product, right? Like
uh-huh,
if you go into the aisle. So let's say you pick up I don't know, you pick up like a can of pop or whatever, a can of Coke from the fridge in the convenience store. And on the fridge it says the can of pop costs like 200 yen. I don't know what the prices are, but let's say it costs 200 yen. So can you go with your 200 yen bill, which probably doesn't exist, but like, can you go with 200 yen in your hand and go to the till and be like, boom, 200 yen, and then you go? Or do they add tax to it?
of course they add tax.
So they add
Of-
tax to it.
yeah.
So like the prices that are showing inside the store are actually not the actual price that you pay at the till.
Oh, that depends on the store. That's a good
That
question.
depends on the store.
That depends on the store.
So some
Like Castle,
so some
yeah,
stores show some stores have the prices including tax, and some
yeah,
stores have the price without tax. Like what we have here in the U.S. Usually, when you look at a price, it says let's say $1 plus tax, but you don't know where the tax is because the tax depends on which province you're in. The taxes
that thing though
change.
is that thing though is very tricky because like if I go to the store, like if I buy groceries,
Yeah,
they would make the actual price bigger than the price with the tax. So like say for example, if I'm gonna buy a pack of milk, so that's like $1.50,
yeah,
they like well the actual price, not with the tax.
yeah.
So they would put like the numbers bigger, like a dollar and 50, and then the actual one, the real one with the tax, is like probably a dollar and 84 cents.
Okay.
They will make it really tiny.
Oh,
They'll make it really, really
oh.
tiny.
Okay, I understand. So they show both prices. I guess
Yeah,
in some stores they show both prices, like the price before
yeah,
tax
and
and the price after tax. Interesting.
exactly. So, like, say for example, most of the time it happens in souvenir stores.
Yeah,
Like in souvenir stores, they trick the, they trick, yeah, the word is trick. They trick the people with the cuteness and the,
yeah,
like
yeah.
fluffiness of the product, and that will make you want to buy them, right?
That makes
So they will
sense.
show the actual price and they will not add the tax.
Yep.
You will only be surprised, like, hey, I thought it was just 1,000, and then
Right.
I'm paying for 1,800.
And then they
What?
tell you, well, there's a tax on top of it. It's like, okay, sure. Like
Exactly.
a lot of Europeans coming here in Canada and in the US have the same problem too. Like they come to a store and they expect
Okay.
to pay a certain amount, and then it's actually more, and they're like, I don't understand. It says like that happens with like a lot of Europeans coming to my store. Like they see on the board, like let's say a drink is 2.95,
Okay.
and then they go to the till and they were like, oh, I want this thing. And you tell them it's like, oh, it's going to be like $3.20. And they're like, but it says 2.95 on the board. And we're like, we have to tell them, well, it's because that doesn't include the tax. And you have to add the taxes on top of that. So that's why now it's 3.20, right? And a lot of people don't understand that. And I really don't like that system. In Europe, when you go to Europe, all the prices you see, at least I'm talking for France, because I'm not really familiar with other countries. But I'm pretty sure the UK is the same as well. Um, when you see the price on something, like if you go to Starbucks and look at the board and it says for a small coffee you're paying $2.50, you're gonna go pay $2.50. If you only have $2.50 in your pocket, you can buy a small coffee. Whereas if you go to Starbucks in Canada or in the US and you look at a small coffee and the small coffee is $2.50, if you have exactly $2.50 in your pocket, you will not be able to buy a small coffee because it will be more expensive than that.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
So that's why I was kind of curious to see how they did it in Japan. So it depends on the store. Some store include the tax and some store don't.
Yeah, but the good thing about it is all taxes are 8%.
Right, 8%. Okay, that's
That,
cool. That's
yeah,
good.
nothing more, nothing less. So, unlike in the Philippines, though, in the Philippines, it even depends
Yeah,
how much taxes it is.
right. It's
But
the
that's
same.
just the Philippines.
It's the same here. Like so, taxes here are very can be very complicated in Canada and the
Complicated.
U.S., especially in Canada, um, and especially here in BC, because
Oh,
depending on the type of product,
yeah.
it can be a different base tax because there are two
Okay.
types of tax. There's a 5% tax and 12% tax,
Right.
or something like that. I can't remember exactly the number. So depending on what product it is, like if it's a food product, taxes on
Uh-huh.
this are lower than if it is like electronics, for instance.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then on top of that, we have two taxes. We have PST and GST. So there's a provincial tax and a government
Oh, wow.
tax. So
That's
two taxes,
interesting.
which like at its base, when you add it up, is about 12%.
Damn, that's high.
Yeah, yeah,
12
yeah.
fucking
But
percent?
then some food items only have one of the taxes. So for some food items, you're only gonna pay 5%, for instance. Like it gets really
Right. That's
complicated.
what
And
okay.
then
Okay.
if you go on top of that, if you like certain electronics have added
Okay.
taxes to them because of electronics, because of recycle fees, and because environment fees and stuff like that. So you can end up paying even more
Okay.
taxes on top of that. So that's why here, basically, when you go buy something and you look at the price of something, you don't actually know how much you're gonna pay until it's time to pay for it,
Okay, that's kind of fucked up.
right? Like
Yeah.
15 years I've been here, I still do not understand. Like when I go to
Yeah,
Best Buy, buy something, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to spend more than say $200 for something, like.
right,
And
right.
if I see something that I like that's just under $200, like it's not uncommon for me to actually pay like 250 for it.
You should probably, I think because this has been like happening for years, you should probably like make a budget plus tax budget.
That's yeah, but so like I mean no, I'm usually pretty okay with doing my my budget and stuff and paying attention to that. But just the concept of it, right? It's like, oh shit. It's like I don't get it. Like you could buy, like you can even find some stuff that have no taxes on it. But it's like what?
Really?
It's like why does this have no tax? But this thing next
I
to it
don't think
has tax.
so.
It's like I don't
I,
understand how it works. Like I have no idea. But yeah,
I don't know about
but generally
you.
speaking, here the tax here in BC at least because of course it changes depending on the province you go in. Like
Okay.
if you go to Calgary or if you go to Toronto, you won't pay the same amount of taxes as you do here, which is really weird.
Mhm.
But that's because of the nature of the country, right? Because we're a federal country. We're not
Oh,
we're for yeah.
okay.
That's why it's kind of like that. So each province has their own government, so they have their own rules for taxes and stuff like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
But yeah, yeah. So sometimes when you buy stuff, you don't actually how much you're gonna, you don't know how you're gonna, like what you're gonna pay. Like
That's
it might say
yeah.
$15, but it might be 18, it might be 15.50. You don't know. It's gonna be a surprise.
That's huge. Wow. Sorry, I was just like sharing this mushroom chips to Chloe.
Ooh, mushroom chip.
Yeah, I'm gonna
She
have to
she,
share this to you too.
she loves her mushroom chips.
Oh, you do know that?
Oh yeah. She always talks about it on Facebook every time she gets some.
Oh my God. The fuck? But yeah, I shared it to you on on your line.
Nice.
Because so yesterday, as what I told you, I went to like Costco with Shingo, and we saw this shiitake mushroom crisps, and I was like, hey, look, shiitake mushroom mushroom crisp, and hold on, and Shingo was like, hey, that's interesting. Let's buy them. So he grabbed one,
Okay.
and as what you said, Chloe's like a big fan of
Yep.
mushroom chips, and I just shared this to her today. Hold on. I think I
Oh no.
I swallowed some dust, but anyway.
Oh.
And she was like saying wow in a French way, like WAOUW.
Wow, in a French way. That's funny.
She's been like this. She
Wow.
the yeah, so she became an employee of the French company, but yeah, she was like doing this WAOUW for like years now.
That's funny.
And
Wow.
she suddenly she was so into the mushroom chips, and she was going geeky over saying asking me questions like "Labasa ba ng mushroom chips di palasa?" Oh, and she was like asking, "Oh, so are those mushroom chips have the same quality that we have here in the Philippines?" And I'm like, "I'm not even trying. I don't know."
I don't know, man. I ain't eating that shit. Why are you asking me this?
Like, do you have all the like? She's all like she's investigating with all the quality and details. She's like, "Oh, is that quality have the same quality we have here in the Philippines?" And I'm like, "I don't
That's
goddamn
funny.
know, man." But
That's
yeah,
funny.
as what you said, yes, she loves her mushroom chips. In fact, it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny because like whenever I send them like Japanese treats and such things like that, because we have this kind of thing among Filipinos, like if we live abroad, we have this box. I think I mentioned it is TOL before.
Yeah.
We call it balikbayan box. It means come back to the country. Balik means come back.
Okay.
Bayan means country. So balikbayan box. So we always every foreign no, every Filipino living or working in a foreign country, they always have this huge box where they contain all those local stuff from that country, and they send it to the Philippines
Nice.
like as a gift or like as souvenirs for our family. So we do that. I think is a very Filipino thing. But anyway, so I told her, hey, I'm gonna give you guys some, like Japanese stuff like that. So please enjoy. And she was like, oh, in that case, I'm gonna give you mushroom chips. And I was like, okay, that'll be great. And she's like advertising those mushroom chips
That's
everywhere in
funny.
her life. Like, yeah, and she's like, oh my god, because I when I left the Philippines, mushroom chips are not really a thing in the Philippines
Yeah.
until a year after that. It became a thing in the Philippines,
Okay.
and yeah, she was just really proud of her mushroom
That's
chips.
funny. Where did
And
that come from though? Is it a Japanese thing that just got to the Philippines? Where does
I
mushroom
think
chips
it's a
come from?
um, I
Like,
don't
because
know.
honestly, I had no idea it was a thing until Chloe started talking about it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I had no idea
Well,
that was even a thing.
if Chloe made a cult or a band,
Yeah.
it should be called. Oh
Mush
wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. If she creates a band, it will be called Chloe and the Mushroom.
Create some mushroom chips.
If it's gonna be if it's gonna be hold on. If it's gonna be a religion, it would be mushroom chipsology, or is it mushroom? Yeah, mushroom chipsology kind of thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, she's just so into those mushroom chips now that you mentioned that, because
that's
like
funny.
every time we go Skype, she's like biting all those mushroom chips in
Yeah,
front of me. And I was like, "What are those?" And she's like, "Mushroom chips."
that's
I
funny.
was
I've
like,
I've never tried it, but maybe I should because I mean I like mushrooms.
"Well, now that you mention it, I'm very tempted to try this."
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna open it. I'm
All
gonna
right.
open
All
it.
right. You open it. You let me know how it tastes like.
I'm gonna open
Because I
it.
like mushroom. It's pretty shiitake mushroom. I kind of like that. But
I'm
as
gonna
as
like.
a chip,
Okay,
I don't know.
hold on. Okay, so
All right.
ooh, this is pretty interesting. I think I should take a video of it. But anyway, okay, so I'm opening it now.
All right.
It just literally looks like dried mushrooms. It's very hard.
Okay.
I'm gonna eat it now.
All right. Oh, that's crispy. All right.
Yes, very. Oh my god, dude!
Is it good?
Now I know why Chloe is just crazy about mushroom chips.
Uh-oh. That's it. We found you in your addiction.
Fucking hell, dude! I'm gonna have to describe it.
All right. All right. What does it taste like?
The texture is like a mixture of crackers and popcorn.
Okay.
So popcorn is like a little fluffy, if you can say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Crackers is a little starchy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that. It's like very hard popcorn, starchy popcorn.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna have to taste another one. Okay, hold on. Because it really has a strange taste. Okay, so I'm grabbing a bigger one right now.
All
I
right.
think I should really take a video of myself.
You should. You can. Okay. After we end the call, just take a video of yourself eating that thing and then send it to me. Okay.
Okay, but I look like I just woke up and my
That's fine.
makeup is like panda mode.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
So okay. Yeah. So it tastes like the real thing, like the like
It
if
ac-
you eat.
it actually tastes like shiitake mushroom.
Yes, it does. So if you eat like the raw mushrooms, you know the texture, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a little soft, like foamy, or kind of like that, right?
Yeah. It's fluffy.
It's like that, but in a hardened, a little bit harder.
Interesting.
And then they put like, I think they season it with
With honey. Interesting.
honey, and because that's how I can describe from the taste.
Okay.
The sweetness is like honey, and there's um typical table salt and pepper. The peppery kind of taste is very ground.
Yeah.
Like you can't even see the evidence. You can't even see the evidence of pepper, but yeah, it's sweet. It's not sour. It's sweet. It's fluffy. Very tasty.
Interesting.
You can say it's addictive because the fluffiness makes it make you want to eat more because it doesn't hurt your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
The starch makes you imagine it's like potatoes but not,
Okay. Dude,
because crispy potato. Yeah.
I found them like the ones you're eating right now. I found them on Amazon.
Oh my God. Okay, you're gonna buy one now?
Actually, I think I might buy one. I want to try it.
Dude, you know what? I can go all the way for Costco just for this shit
Yeah,
take mushroom chips.
dude. Because it
Seriously.
doesn't look like they have it at my local grocery store or like supermarket.
Not even at Costco? There's nothing at Costco? Really?
They might have it at Costco. Let me check.
I
Costco.
should say I should probably say there is. There's definitely something at
Uh,
Costco.
my only problem. Oh shit! Come on. My only problem with Costco is that it's a little far from where I live. But
Oh man. Okay.
mushroom, what is it called? Mushroom crisp, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the English version of chips. Yeah, it's not there. Yeah, I
Oh,
might
so it's a product of Australia.
from Australia. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at the back. So it says here, it's funny because there is no ingredient of honey. So
Hmm.
so hold on. The ingredients shiitake mushroom at 75%, vegetable oils, maltose, sea salt, yeast extract, spices, natural flavor.
Okay.
Okay, so however, it is produced in a facility that handles gluten, milk, peanuts, tree nuts,
Yeah,
okay,
they
soybeans. I can take the soybeans.
they have to put that in just in case people have allergies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it
Okay, okay.
doesn't mean that those things are in there, but um, it's like where they make this, they also make other stuff that use those things,
Oh, okay, that
and
makes sense.
even though it's unlikely, it's possible that there would be cross contamination.
Oh, okay, okay, that makes sense.
That's
All
what
right.
it means. Yeah.
So yeah, no evidence. Yeah, funny. No evidence of honey.
All right.
But I don't know where they're getting the sweetness because it's sweet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the process of drying the mushroom itself kind of makes it taste like sweeter.
Maybe
Maybe.
because if you eat like mushrooms alone, it's not sweet, right?
Right.
There's no sweet sense of eating
Yeah.
mushroom food. But dude, I have to say,
It's actually
this is
good.
fucking good.
Wow.
Yeah, fucking good.
Well, I'm gonna have to try it. Maybe I'll look around the stores around here. Maybe I'll find some. And if I don't, maybe I'll order some
Yeah,
from Amazon because why not?
it's really nice. Like you can just enjoy it by like watching over Netflix.
Yep.
Yeah, and eating it like any regular chips. But I should say this is pretty expensive. It costs us like almost $7.
Oh shit! Goddamn. That's a small
Yeah, this is
pack
pretty
too. That's
expensive.
what, a 5.3 ounce, and
Yeah, it's 5.3 ounce, 150 grams per net. Yeah, it's $7. That's like
oh
six
okay.
dollars and
Uh,
fifty ish.
that makes sense. Actually, that's kind of the price I'm seeing right now on Amazon too. It's around the same price too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Plus the how
around,
about the shipping? Is it free?
around 750. I don't know. I guess it depends where you buy it from, but
Okay.
um, yeah, dude. Like the prices for it on Amazon, what I'm seeing right now, it goes between 750 all the way up to $12 for the exact same one you're holding right now.
Damn, $12? Shit.
Yeah, it's a little
That's a lot.
expensive, but I don't know. Maybe like just to try it out once.
You might like it, you might not,
Yeah,
but to me personally,
it's not as bad as you thought it
fucking
would be.
hell. Yeah, like the thing that I did not expect though, I thought the texture was like potato chips, like harder and crisper and thinner,
Okay.
but it's actually more of it's like you're eating styrofoam kind of thing.
Okay, interesting.
Probably because if you hold the mushroom, the fresh mushrooms, it has this fluffy
Yeah,
styrofoamy kind of texture, right?
right.
So it feels like that, just a little dehydrated. That's
Okay.
how I can describe it. Um, it's very hard when you touch it, but if you bite it, yeah, it feels like just biting a bit softer versions of crackers.
Nice.
And they're not really harming your teeth because unlike potato chips, when you eat them, sometimes it's painful in the teeth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The harder and crisper it is. But here it's not. It just dissolves.
Hmm.
Yeah, it when you bite it, it dissolves. It mixes with your taste buds, and the weird how I describe it, right?
I understand what you mean. That's all right. Actually makes me want to try it, so I'm gonna have to look for some.
Oh my god! And yes, you're very welcome. And now I understand
Okay,
why my
so
sister's like,
all right,
"Eat
so
them."
we're gonna look for some, and then with Chloe, just gonna start a cult or something.
Mushroom, yeah, mushroom crispology,
Mu-
mushroom
mushroom
crispology.
mushroomology of the crisp.
Oh god, dude, you gotta try it. But again, I should say you would either hate it or love it.
Yeah,
To me, I love it.
it's one of those
I love
things,
it. And actually, I told Shingo, I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make my own chips because if it's that expensive and
right?
it's
Yeah,
yeah,
you could probably do it yourself.
actually, while I was chatting with you a while ago, I was already staring at it. I was
Yeah,
really hit by it. I was like, at that time we were like talking about Japanese history. Goddamn, yeah,
yeah.
I know. I was,
I
I,
mean,
I,
we always end up talking about Japanese history.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. So going back, while I was like talking with you about Japanese history, I was like already staring at this. Like I want to grab it and just murder it. Um, same time, hold on. At the same time, I was also looking for like YouTube tutorials how to make your own
Yeah,
mushroom
I
soup.
was gonna say you probably can look it up and find out how to make it and do it easily.
Exactly, because if you think about it,
Because if it
I don't
like
know. Yeah,
if it only takes like some seasoning and drying like in the oven or something.
yeah, exactly. I have to say though, with the amount of the mushroom crisps inside this bag, it would probably have the same price because
Just bang the
like a
mushroom.
pack of mushrooms, yeah, like a pack of mushrooms is already $1.
Okay.
And a pack of mushrooms is like at least 8 pieces.
Oh, okay.
And like this,
That's not a lot. That's like a small pack. God damn.
yeah,
Wow,
and it's $1,
you can buy like a whole bunch of them for just a couple bucks. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
like 8 pieces if I'm like, because like if I look at the bag, there's really a lot of mushrooms here, and it's not even cut into half. It's like whole mushroom.
It's the actual whole mushroom. Yeah.
Yeah, whole mushrooms, and then yeah, whatever they did with this.
Mm.
So if I'm going to like buy a pack of fresh mushrooms, and that's like 8 piece a pack, and that's $1, it's almost the same price. If Because
Yeah.
if I'm gonna buy like 6 packs, it's almost the same
It's
thing.
gonna be the same thing. Yeah. So weird.
Exactly. So yeah, it's kind of funny because sometimes
It
like if
is.
I it's kind of funny because at the same time here in Japan sometimes it's more it's cheaper to buy the finished product more than doing it on your own,
It's cheaper to buy the pre-made thing than to make it by yourself, which is really strange because like that's not how it should be.
which is kind of weird. I don't understand how it goes though.
I don't know.
I don't know how it is in I don't know how it is in the US and Canada, but like say for example if I want to make my own cake, um it will cost me about 3,000 yen. So that's like, hold on, $30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will cost $30 to make a cake, including, uh, not including, plus the time
Right.
and the effort that I have to make. Whereas I can buy like a very, very cute kawaii
Kawaii.
level, kawaii level of Japanese cake that is pretty much the same amount. No,
Yeah.
no, pretty much the same cost, or probably even less. Like,
Yeah.
hold on, $15. Yeah, $15, and yeah, I can just buy it without even
Yeah.
putting effort and everything. So yeah, basically, I should say it, but yeah, it really depends on
It
the product.
depends. Yeah,
Where
it,
you
it
want
depends.
it.
It
Yeah,
depends on what it is. I understand. It's kind of the same here. It's kind of like you're talking about cakes, and I'm pretty much like I'm pretty sure it would be the same thing here. Like making your own cake here might be better, but might cost about the same amount, if not more, than actually buying it. Like I can go to a store and buy a cake, like a whole big black forest cake, because that's my favorite, for like $10. If I were to make my own black forest cake, first of all, I would spend 3 days on it because I'm a terrible baker,
yeah.
and
Oh,
and it would cost me the same amount, if not more. Because no,
yeah.
you don't have to buy the big bag of flour because they don't make those tiny bags of flour, and you have to buy all the chocolate stuff and then all the cherries and all the stuff to make the cream filling and all that stuff. Like it would be like it would actually might be more expensive to make it yourself than to go to
Yeah.
the store and buy it.
Yeah.
But other things, it's actually cheaper to make it yourself than go outside and buy it. Like if you make like no a more regular kind of meal, right? Let's say you want to make
Yeah.
like pasta and tomato sauce. Well, it's easier to go to the store and then buy a bag of pasta and buy a can of tomato sauce and then just kind of make
Right.
it yourself than to go to the restaurant and buy pasta tomato sauce where they're gonna charge you like 3 or 4 times what you just paid at the store,
Yeah.
right?
Sorry, I just ate another mushroom.
It's okay.
Fucking hell for it.
Nom
Dude,
nom.
you have to buy it. Like, I seriously, the reason why I'm stopping to eat this is because Chingo and I plan to eat this on our count.
Yeah.
So I just violated our
Oh
deal.
no. It's okay. You can say it's my fault.
I'm gonna have to stop now.
Just close it down, put it aside.
I did. Even care the entire part. I just pour like one third of the bag.
Oh
I
no.
didn't share it because if I do, this is gonna be gone today.
Oh no.
Oh my god. I have to say though, this is even like to me, in my opinion, this shiitake mushroom crisps are even better than this Kirkland organic tortilla chips
All
and
right.
the Kirkland, what's this? Kettle brand crinkle cut potato chips.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm actually
And
I'm not a fan of tortilla chips.
you what?
I'm not a fan of tortilla chips. I like potato
You're
chips, but I don't really like tortilla chips.
you're not a human being.
It depends on the days, and it depends if I had coffee or not.
Everybody loves tortilla chips.
But I don't. Like they feel just like dry and too crunchy for me. That's why I like potato chips
I
better.
thought I thought I was hipster enough. Somebody became my sister.
like like I don't
No.
I don't hate them. Like I'll eat them if they're here, and that's all there is. But like I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
Like if I had
Okay.
if I had two bags of chips between in front of me, and then one is tortilla chips and one is regular potato chips, I'll just go for the potato chips like anytime.
All right. All right, you win. Right.
Yeah, I usually do.
Oh God. Well, anyway, I hate to say this, but we have to end this call. Oh,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's
We've
already lunchtime here, and I'm kind of hungry, and it's your fault that I ate the mushroom
Oh
chips again.
no, I'm sorry. I made you open it. I actually told you to try it and let me know how it is.
No, but it's really good.
It is really
Well,
good. All
that's
right. Well,
so
that's the no, that's the takeaway of the whole call of today. We just figured out that shiitake mushroom crisps are actually very good, and that Chloe has a good reason for being addicted.
so after our 3 hour call,
Yep.
the bottom line of this call is just about the shit take
Yep.
mushroom crisp. That's
Mushroom
amazing.
shiitake mushroom crisps are amazing. That's the result after
They're
a
just
3 hours
they're
call.
just they're just shit take amazing.
She's like it's like the good shiitake.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I laughed.
Holy shiitake.
Oh my god. Hey, that's anyway. Holy shit, right?
Yeah.
God. So I was just while I was chatting with you right now, yeah, I was just scrapbooking the tickets I collected from my tour. Like I
Okay.
went to Furano, I went to the Tokyo Museum
All
because
right.
like I this is kind of random because they were like compiled they were piled up in my wallet and it's like already occupying a lot of space. So instead of throwing them, I'm just making a scrapbook out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, it's kind of funny because I know it's kind of nerdy or whatever. I also collect movie tickets
Okay.
of yeah, I collect movie tickets of what Jingo and I watch. I mean,
That was good.
in fact,
I used to do that too. I just haven't done it anymore in a while,
really,
but I used to do that too, yeah.
well, that's interesting because like I consider it like my historical
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm. And like
Yeah, and
when you look at your pile of tickets, you can be like, dude, we saw so many movies together, right? It's kind of cool.
exactly. And it's nice that if it's two, because like I literally, I intentionally scrapbook like two tickets if ever I am with Shingo to
Yeah.
remind me that, hey, I'm not alone. Just
Mm-hmm.
when I visited this place, I actually went with him and you know, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so oh, I hate to say goodbye, but I have to say goodbye because my stomach's like already
Yeah,
complaining.
it's okay. Plus, we've been on the call for like over 3 hours. That's all good. It was a good call though.
Yeah, and you know, I was really happy that we were able to talk. And
Yeah,
the funny thing though is like today we didn't debate like we used to.
that's true. We just told stories.
Yeah,
That was fun.
it was really nice. Yeah,
It was good.
yeah.
We're gonna have to do it again. So